Need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And always online at lernerandrowe.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch.
Guys are hot.
On Fox Sports 910.
Hey, everybody, welcome in. We are broadcasting live today from Wright Toyota. Oh, and there is a party going on. Annie Oakley is in costume today. We have also seen Beetlejuice, the Joker. Cheech and Chong made a guest appearance. I followed them around to see if I could get a nose hit, but nothing was going on while I was following them. But I'm telling you, it is Mini-Me is in the house. He told me originally he was Dr. Evil. I said, no, man, you are Mini-Me. That's it. Dr. Evil. Now I got you. Yeah, he's yelling at me now. Dr. Evil. No, dude, you are Mini-Me. So it is a party here at Wright Toyota, and you can always come out, buy a great used car or a new car right here at Wright Toyota. We are in Scottsdale. Welcome, everybody. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Fox Sports 910, 99.9 HD2 FM, and also on the iHeartRadio app. So no Roc today. He is in Houston, headed for the World Series. No Manuch today. He's chasing after Giselle, who's now available on the open market with the divorce with her and Tom Brady. No, actually, Manuch is headed to a wedding, not his, but to a wedding, so he's not here. So Jax is in the house. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you? I'm pleased to be joined. Obviously, Jimmy B, one of the legends in the sports broadcasting field. I worked with Roc. Yeah. I worked with Manuch. And now we get some one-on-one time today.
I like that. Neither of those guys are legends. Only in their
only
in their own minds are they legends. All right, Ben, let's go.
Time for the top.
Hey, you guys are potted down. Just something if you want to throw it in there. James Conner is out for Sunday.
Bar in Casino, Arizona.
From Adam Schefter.
Your favorite team.
All right, you guys are out.
In an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
All right, well, I think it's pretty safe to say that there is so much going on in the world of sports in the Phoenix area. So let's just start with the home teams, and then we'll move to the traveling teams. The home teams tonight, the Phoenix Suns. New Orleans Pelicans in town tonight. The Pelicans are 3-1, but right now, Zion Williamson, Jax, is a game-time decision. That disappoints me.
Yeah, me too. He's looked a lot healthier coming into this season, lost a little weight there. He's questionable with a hip injury. Yeah. Brandon Ingram is out with a concussion tonight. Herbert Jones, knee questionable for tonight. CJ McCollum questionable with the PIP strain, as well as Jose Alvarado are the key players on the Pelicans. And the Suns are healthy. I mean, they're only losing Jay Crowder, who's not with the team still. He's been out. We don't know what his status is for the rest of the year. Ish Wainwright will be day-to-day with the back injury, but they're healthy. And the New Orleans Pelicans, who are a good young team, aren't healthy tonight.
No, that's too bad because I was really hoping to see a terrific matchup. And I've watched Zion play early in the season, and he is phenomenal. He is worth the price of admission to go watch him play. Also opening up tonight. Let's have a little hockey with the Coyotes opening up at the Mullet Arena as the Winnipeg Jets come in to play against the Coyotes.
Yeah, the debut at the Mullet Arena. I believe it's sold out. 5,000 seats is what it is. And there's some photos online that are trending of the visiting locker room that they made, the little makeshift there, the curtains, the built lockers that they have there. It'll be exciting. Obviously, it's the debut of the Coyotes, but I mean, it'll be interesting. 5,000 fans. It should be loud.
It'll be loud. Yeah. I mean, it'll be nuts in that building, especially if the Coyotes are putting on a good show. They come into tonight's game at 2-4 from their 6-game road trip, which began the season because they had to finish some things up at the arena. But look, I love the NHL. A lot of people say, well, I really like it in person. It's harder to watch on TV. I agree with that. But HD television saved the National Hockey League because at least now you can see the puck. Where before, it was so difficult to find the puck. That's why Fox one time had the little red arrow that they used to use on the screen when somebody would shoot the puck to try to help you find it. And if you went all the way back into the 70s, when NBC was airing National Hockey League games, they had a cartoon character. His name was Peter Puck. And he would teach you the rules of the game. Peter Puck. Look it up if you don't believe me. All right, so that's what's going on locally tonight. Now let's head out on the road. Is it just me, Jax, or have I totally forgotten that baseball even existed? I forgot that the World Series starts tonight.
If Rock wasn't a Phillies fan, I'd probably say the same thing.
Yeah.
I didn't, honestly. You got football going on, college and NFL. You got NBA starting. The baseball is kind of taking that back seat, and I'm a big fan of playoff baseball, especially the World Series. But yeah, I didn't know it started tonight until you just said that.
I was shocked that, I knew it, but I hadn't paid any attention to it. And, I'm going to watch the game this evening, but it's just like out of sight, out of mind. I cannot believe that actually Major League Baseball took the whole week off. If they would have started like Wednesday or even Thursday, then people, I think, still would have been dialed in. But now you have to try to grab eyeballs to the TV set in order to pay attention to the next best of 4 out of 7.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jimmy, because I believe I saw a tweet a couple of days ago that said from now until I believe the end of November, there will be college or NFL football on every single day.
Yeah.
Which, if you're at MLB, it sucks because you got the World Series, the greatest event in your sport, and it's going to be not a lot of people are going to watch it because of college football and NFL going on every single day. That's why they call it America's football, America's game. Yeah.
It's amazing to me what actually is happening throughout this entire weekend. And you just referenced that there is some sort of game, because there's college football tonight as well, that it's like every day now we're going to have that luxury. If you're sports fans like Jax and I and Roc and Manuch and Ben, this is what we live for. This is our life. And that's why we're difficult to live with, to be honest with you, because we're so dialed into everything. I'm just real curious how this plays out tonight in Houston. And I'm going to send a text to Roc during one of the commercial breaks and see if he'll call us from Houston.
That'd be awesome.
I just hope he's sober enough to talk on the show. That would be great, though, if we indeed got an opportunity to have that conversation, because he's such a big Phillies fan. He grew up Philly. He's a Philly boy, loves the Eagles, loves the Phillies. I don't know if he's that much of a Flyers or Sixers fan, but I know that he's hardcore Phillies and Eagles fans. All right, last night there was an NFL game played, and Lamar Jackson outdueled Tom Brady. And, of course, the word today is the divorce now is final between Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen. And so, look, if anybody has ever gone through a divorce, especially if you have kids, it really takes a personal toll on you. And you could definitely see in the last few weeks how difficult that has been for Tom Brady.
Yeah, and you feel bad for Tom Brady and Gisele and the whole family right now because of the timing of this. Yes. I think because Tampa Bay, they lost their third straight. They're not doing well in the divorce at the same time. A lot of people are saying that this divorce is kind of playing with the team right now, which you don't want to see that. You kind of want to see this divorce handled in private. You don't really want to see sports talk radios and people assume things and talk about it on the radio or on TV.
I'm with you, and we won't dive into their issues at all. But what it reminds me of is when Tiger had his issues as well, Tiger Woods, and how it played out in the media. And this is similar to that. I just feel bad for everybody that's involved. But you can certainly say something positive about the way that Lamar Jackson played last night. The dude was on fire. Here's from Prime Video, Lamar with a touchdown throw of 10 yards.
Hill is still in there. 2nd and 7. Jackson surveys under pressure. Throws, and it's in the back of the end zone. Hold in there by Likely. Touchdown. Boy, that rookie is having some night.
All right. Yes, he is having. He had a terrific game. Look, Brady went 26 of 44 for 325 yards and a touchdown, but they end up losing the game 27-22, and the game was played in Tampa, and Baltimore combined to rush for 231 yards on the ground. I mean, you can't – your defense – I mean, Brady can only do so much. Your defense has got to slow down the opposition.
Yeah, and if Coach Harbaugh is listening to this right now, pay Lamar Jackson. Folks, let me tell you, his receiver unit that he has, they're all probably on any other team the number 3 or number 4 receiver on that squad. You got Demarcus Robinson, former wide receiver 4, the leading receiver last night. You got your leading tight end. You got Evan Duvernay. Of course, these guys, you really know, he made them look like they were all-stars last night. You need to pay that man or give him some talent on the outside at receiver. I'm impressed by what Lamar Jackson did last night.
I'm with you 100%. All right, so that's the way that we are beginning the show. Oh, by the way, we want to remind you, Monday nights at Casino Arizona, we call it the Monday Night Tailgate. We give away cash. All you do is just show up. You just walk in. You just hang out and watch football, and you win money. And right now, the progressive jackpot is over $1,700. Jax, you've been there. It's nuts in there.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's getting more packed as the jackpot's rising, you kind of see, and people are getting anxious. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, a lot of free money handing out. I love doing it.
I know you do. Bengals and the Browns this coming Monday, and the doors open at 4 o'clock. That's at the CAZ Sports Bar and Sportsbook at Casino Arizona. So what makes this Astro team so difficult as they head into Game 1 of the World Series against the Phillies, and what is wrong with Tampa Bay? Well, coming up later on in the program, Uncensored with Sean Salisbury. We will have that for you coming up a little later on in the show. All right, we are here live at Wright Toyota. Just hang out with us. That's all we do. We just hang out in Scottsdale at Wright Toyota. We're having a great time, and it's costume day as well. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Jax, and Ben working the show for you today on Fox Sports 910.
6 Wright Toyota phone line. Check it out for yourself at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Wright Toyota.
Today was good practice. Put the plan in. Obviously, we know the challenge we have ahead. Great defense.
You guys are hot. 5 seconds.
You go coming off a bye, fresh. Good offense as well. So we got to come to play.
Welcome back, everybody. That, of course, Kyler Murray, as the Vikings and the Arizona Cardinals get together Sunday. It's a 10 o'clock early kickoff. So grab yourself some breakfast and enjoy the game. So let's get into this a little bit, all right? I'm just real curious about what in the wide world of sport is going to take place in this game. You got a feel for this game at all?
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Because I don't have a feel for it at all.
Yeah, it either feels like the Cardinals are going to contend in this game and win, or it's going to be a blowout and the Vikings are going to win. That's kind of how I'm sensing this game right now. I think the biggest thing, as I got some keys here for the Cardinals-Vikings, if you don't mind, Jimmy.
Go right ahead, Jimmy.
I think the biggest thing, defensively, they got their pass rush needs to step up. They have to force Cousins to make some throws that he doesn't want. Got to make him uncomfortable, because this season so far, that's been the biggest struggle for the Vikings, is their offensive line. And you got to limit these explosive plays. That's what the Vikings offense with Justin Jefferson, with Adam Thielen, that's what they build on, especially with a crowd like the Minnesota Vikings have and their skull chants and everything like that. You got to limit their explosive plays. And I think that all starts up front. If you can contain Kirk Cousins and make him uncomfortable, I think it'll play with the defenders, with the DBs like Budda Baker, the secondary. We saw they did well last week, but I mean, Kevin White going for 64 yards. Like, those are certain plays you don't want against an explosive offense like with Justin Jefferson and what the Vikings have.
It's one of these things where you look at this game and you saw what New Orleans did. They put up 500 yards of offense. And that's scary, because when you have a Kirk Cousins and the wide receivers that he has and the weapons that he has and the running back like Dalvin Cook, how are they going to slow down Minnesota? That's my I guess the way that I'm looking at it. I believe that the Cardinals have a legitimate chance to win this game on the road. I'm just not sure how they can slow down the Vikings.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and I think it's got to start up front for both sides. And as the injury report here just came out for the Cardinals, offensive lineman DJ Humphries is questionable with the back injury. Cornerback Byron Murphy questionable with the back injury. Matt Prater questionable with a hip injury. Most likely probably out there. He's been struggling with that hip.
Yeah.
And I think if Blankenship starts to do well, I think you kind of sit Prater on this one. Darrell Williams, running back, questionable with the knee. Now, the outs category, James Conner out once again with the rim injury. So, boom, Eno Benjamin coming back in. He's got to step up like he did last week.
Right.
Offensive lineman Max Garcia, linebacker Dennis Gardick. So, expect Cameron Thomas and expect Maji Sanders to step up there. Rodney Hudson out once again, and then Christian Matthew, cornerback, out with a hamstring injury. So, you got some O-linemen that are going to have to step up, like Cody Ford, like we mentioned before, and Billy Price at center. So it'll be interesting against one of the probably best front sevens that the Vikings have.
Minnesota's record with only one loss, but they could have lost lots of other games. They have been able to find a way to win games down in the last couple of minutes, and that has not been their MO in recent years. They found ways to lose those games. So something obviously has changed. Well, they changed head coaches. So it's a totally different attitude right now for the Minnesota Vikings. And I guess I would say this, that if this game is close, and I think it will be, that I would have to lean Vikings at that particular moment, just because they are not afraid of playing in close games down the stretch.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins is up for MVP candidate right now. He's playing some of the best ball that he's played.
Wait. Run that by me again now. What did you just say?
I know it's hard to believe, everybody, but
just say?
Kirk Cousins is in the MVP talk right now. I mean, how can he not be? He's having one of the best years. I think the biggest part of his year so far is not being able to turn the ball over. I believe he's got 5 interceptions this year, which is a lot, I guess. But He's got 9 touchdown passes, and he's more smart with the football. And something that O'Connell has said this week from the head coach from the Vikings, he said they need to have more explosive plays, give Kirk Cousins more confidence in the beginning of the game so later in the game down the stretch they can run the ball with Dalvin Cook. And, being able to be two-dimensional instead of being one-dimensional is something that both teams are going to have to do in order to win this game.
I want to see what takes place on our State 48 roofing. It's your call question. In fact, let's tie it in right now because it makes perfect sense. And it is, besides DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray, who must have a big game for the Cardinals against the Vikings? And we were talking about some of these players. 1, Rondale Moore. 2, Robbie Anderson. 3, Zach Ertz. Or 4, Eno Benjamin. And we just referenced Benjamin being the back, and that's who I selected. By the way, you can go to Roc and Manuch Twitter and make your vote, and we will revisit it before the show is over. Out of those 4, do you have a player that really needs to be the key guy?
I think it's got to be Eno Benjamin. I think when you see this Cardinals offense and you see how Kyler Murray reacts and how he plays with a strong running game, I just think it opens everything up. I think he's more comfortable, more secure in the offense. The play action is more open with guys like Zach Ertz getting the football, with Rondale Moore. I think the offense runs better when you have the running game doing as well as it did last week. I think when it struggles, I think you see Kyler Murray kind of panic. Hopefully they can use him more in the running game this week as well. But I want to give this to you too, Jimmy. I know a big storyline in this obviously is Patrick Peterson on the other side.
Yeah,
he used to play for the Cardinals. He has a podcast called All Things Covered with Bryant McFadden. Now this was filmed last week during their bye week. Peterson had a bold prediction. He said, quote, "I'm getting 2 interceptions on October 30th, which is this Sunday."
It is.
He said, "You already know who we're playing." He said, "I can't wait. There's a certain celebration, a special one that's coming out. Put your seatbelt on because we're about to ride." So if you're a Cardinals fan, if you are a Cardinals player and you hear that, you got to be fired up. Well, at least I'm fired up.
Well, what's he supposed to say? He's supposed to say, "Oh, good God, I'm going to play the team that I used to play for, and we're going to get our butts whooped." No, he's going to come out and he's going to be braggadocious. That's what athletes do. It's all about the competition and winning. And look, I don't have an issue with what he stated. I saw that as well. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't expect anything else out of Patrick Peterson.
Hey, and guess what? You got to guard DeAndre Hopkins coming this Sunday.
Right. Well, that's why he said it.
Yeah.
That's why he said it. And look, they play pretty much zone. So I think they'll try to bracket DeAndre Hopkins and try to have somebody else beat them else in the passing game. And of course, the Cardinals have to get a good ground game with Eno Benjamin, which we have discussed. But I find Patrick Patterson to be kind of that guy. And a lot of people are saying, well, he's not as fast as he used to be, and he's not playing as well as he. Well, they're playing a different defensive concept as well. You have to understand that. And I don't think that he's going to be matched up one-on-one very often, if at all, against DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, and when you have great safeties like they do with Harrison Smith, and you got pass rushers like Zadarius Smith, and you got Danielle Hunter, you got Jordan Hicks, you got Eric Kendricks in the middle, it kind of releases some pressure off of you as he did before when he was on the Cardinals, being that number one guy. Like you said, they play a lot of zone. They'll bracket DeAndre Hopkins as much as they can, and I think they got to give him. If you're the Cardinals, if you're Cliff Kingsbury, you got to give him the ball in the situations where you see he's one-on-one, you see no safety over the top. You got to audible, got to take advantage of those chances when you can, because there's not going to be a lot of them on Sunday.
And I want Kyler Murray to use his legs in this game too.
100%.
I don't have him. I don't have any issues at all if he just takes off, similar to what we saw Lamar Jackson do last night. That is our State 48 Roofing. It's your call question of the day for a free quote, repair, or installation. Just go to state48roofing.com. Follow them on social media by searching #SexyRoofStatus. All right, when we come back, as advertised, Sean Salisbury is going to join us. We're going to have some fun with him. World Series is in his hometown, and we will talk a lot of football as well. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Jackson Ben, working the show today here at Wright Toyota, Fox Sports 9. 10.
This
Well, that's why I'm here. And that's why I glad that Jim Crane brought me back here, and also to a place because most places I've been in, I've had to sort of rebuild the team, but this team was sort of built already, and I had to carry on and try to enhance what we already have here. And I don't know, I'm just a ball player. I'm trying to win.
I think I have Salisbury calling right now, so give me 1 second. Just kind of talk. I'll bring you guys back on right now. You guys are hot.
That's my number 2 at that time.
Dusty Baker. How about that? I mean, look, Dusty has never won a World Series. He's a phenomenal manager. He walked into just a hornet's nest after all the cheating scandals with the Houston Astros and has guided that ship back into the World Series after a couple of seasons, and they are back. And so we say hello then to Sean Salisbury, and it's always great when we catch up to him right now, and he joins us. Sean, welcome. As always, it's Jim, it's Jax, and Ben on the show today. Roc is in Houston, getting ready for you to throw down and party with him, and Manuch is at a wedding, kid. So, what's Houston like? Is it like nuts right now?
Oh yeah, but you know what's interesting, Jimmy, is that the Astros fans, and not in an arrogant way, they expected to be here. They expected to be here from spring training. Their pitching staff is scary deep. The bullpen's as good as there was in baseball. Their frontline starters, and they've got some horses in the lineup that can drive the ball. The key to them is they don't strike out much, Jimmy. They put the ball in play, and the fans are going nuts. But unlike I think the Astros in the Yankee series, the Yankees struck out 50 times in four games. The Astros don't get double digits in 3 or 4 games. So they're always putting pressure on a defense. Now, I think the Phillies are a wonderful, not only story, but they're a hell of a team. You can't throw the ball to Bryce Harper. You got to keep it away from him. And if that means make him chase something, hopefully. But if he ruins and wrecks games, that's on the Astros. I don't think they're going to let Bryce Harper beat him. But if both teams play their best, the Astros are the better team. But the Phillies are playing great baseball now, and they got guts, and they're tough. So we'll see. But the city expected to be in the World Series, but they also don't expect the job to be done yet. They're not sighing or breathing or taking it for granted. This team's building a pretty good dynasty. A World Series here would mean what's this 4 World Series in 6 years, and will have been their second victory in 4 of those.
All right, let me just follow up. Is the stench gone from the cheating scandal finally?
Well, here, around the league now, in certain cities, you'll hear it all around the country. But to the Astros, they did that over it. What fans realize going into opponents' parks, and while the first 2 are here because they have home field advantage, is that the Astros, every time they go on the road, they feed off this. Every time somebody brings it up or talks about a trash, and listen, they made their bed. They did wrong. They suffered punishment. A manager, a general manager were fired. They've lost Correa since then. They've lost Cole. They've lost Greinke. They've lost George Springer. They've lost Charlie Morton. They've lost Joe Musgrove. And guess what? They're still in the World Series. So they keep overcoming. They keep stockpiling. The booing and the chattering and the trash can talk bothers the fans, I think, more than it does the players. The players actually rise up and do it. There's DNA involved in postseason DNA, meaning they got guts, man. They love the moment. And this new rookie shortstop, Pena, same way. So the stench not going to go away from around the league. It gets a little where we don't smell it quite as much, but nationally people are always going to bring it up. But what will stop it, or at least even hit it in the face a little more, is going out and dominating this series and beating a really good Phillies team and having people say, oh, okay. People have to realize the Astros are a really good baseball club regardless, and I couldn't root harder for Dusty Baker to get his first World Series.
I got to ask, Sean, I know you're great buddies and great friends with Mattress Mac. Have you texted him at all this morning about the huge payout that could happen if the Astros are winning, or how's he feeling?
Well, not only did I text him, I'm sitting with him tonight at the game. I'm leaving here. I was at his store today picking up tickets, and I'm flying with him on Monday or Sunday night on the private plane to Philly. So, yeah, we've had a lot of conversations. we sat at a table, and I looked at him. I said, "There's only $75 million on the line, my friend. Don't and he goes, "Oh, my nerves were shot." You know, he's such a great guy. He epitomizes what giver is. You know, if we had like a representative from each state say, "Okay, we're going to give you our most charitable, giving guy who puts people before he puts himself," Mattress Mac's going to represent the state of Texas, not just the city of Houston. He's a phenomenal human being. Great. You guys would love him. Great personality, fun, loves sports, loves people, loves to make a difference. And you know when things are going bad around the country or in another state, whether it's a tornado in Kentucky or a hurricane, he's loading up trucks and taking goods to those people as well. Awesome. So I root for the two people I'm rooting for, $75 million for Mattress Mac and Dusty to get his first World Series. But yeah, I was literally with him this morning after my show. I'll see him at the ballpark, and I'll be on a plane with him Sunday night on his plane, flying to Philly to watch it there too. He's a very good friend of the show and a good friend of mine and somebody that I root for every time. And he's just such a good guy. Easy to root for because he's such a good guy.
Well, I'll just follow up and then we'll go to a different topic. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he, when you had all that heavy rain and all the floods, didn't he open up his mattress stores so people could come in and sleep who couldn't get to their houses?
Wow.
Yes, and I appreciate both of you guys asking about him because I know I know we kind of said here. I'm thinking I can go ahead and laugh and get that uncomfortable sticker at $75 million because it's Mattress Mac's money, not mine. But can you imagine that feeling if we're sitting here today getting ready and it's like $75 million sitting on a 7-game series, and he handles it with such grace. You know, when he snickers, it's like it's that nervous snicker, like Sean, I believe in him, and he's just such a good guy. And a lot of that'll go back to the people. But yes, when Hurricane Harvey hit, his store, all the new stuff, he opened up his doors, and when other people didn't open up some of their doors and he let people stay to sleep on his brand new furniture. You can't resell that stuff, right?
Yep.
And for weeks and weeks on end, he housed homeless people in his store with all of his new furniture, so they had a place to go, and matched it with food, 3 meals minimum a day. Everything he does is to, like I said, he loves people. The city loves him, and it'd be nice to see him, and he's won plenty, but it'd be nice to see him reap the benefits of committing to this and getting those odds and winning $75 million, because the city will reap the benefits of it even more than he does, because that's just who he is.
All right, fair enough. We're chatting with Sean Salisbury here on the Right Toyota guest line. All right, switch to football now, as the Arizona Cardinals and the Minnesota Vikings have a little game that they're going to play this Sunday. And I'm sitting here, Sean, and I want to pick your brain because I know that you played for the Vikings. And I'm just curious as to how Minnesota now is reacting to the new head coach. They've only dropped 1 game. Kirk Cousins is playing relatively solid football. Are they going to take care of business at home against the Cardinals?
If I was betting this, I would bet the over in this game.
Okay.
But if I was betting it, because I think they're both going to score. The Vikings score. Their weapons and Cousins is protecting the ball. You know, we've always known he could put up numbers. The question is, how does he do in prime time? How does he do in single elimination games? And how does he do when the pressure falls on him where he has to win a game? He's done a great job of it. Kevin O'Connell, there's been a shift. Listen, Mike Zimmer was a good coach, but Mike was a command and control leader. Mike old school and was abrasive, and that's okay. But sometimes if you're not winning, people can kind of turn the other cheek to it. And Mike had a defensive coaching mentality where they didn't let's turn the wings, I guess what I'm trying to say. Now Kevin comes in, Kevin O'Connell, and he's more of a inspire and trust guy, the new age, but he's also putting trust in Cousins' hands instead of resisting it. They're getting everybody involved, and they're not afraid to attack, and they're going for it, which I like. They're not playing not to lose; they're playing to win. And it's a different Vikings feeling, and their defense has gotten better after the last year or two with a lot of holes in it. They've shored up the offensive line, and Cousins is making good, precise decisions. Now, whenever Kyler's on the field and you got these weapons, there's always that chance, as we saw, they can score some points. I think defenses will have trouble stopping them. The question is, who's going to be more physical? Can you stop the run game? Because Dalvin Cook is really good. And at home, you'd have to favor the Vikings. But I've seen this movie before where a team starts to feel good. The question is, can they stay on edge and not get too comfortable? Because they are clearly the best team in the NFC North. And when you think about outside of Philadelphia, guys, there's another group. It goes Philadelphia, and then there's like Dallas, the Giants, The Vikings, that's the next tier of, and there is a gap, but that's the next tier of NFC teams, and the Vikings are in it. So in that next tier, abilities of getting not only winning the division, but battling for home field advantage if this keeps up. I like the Vikings in the game because it's at home, but you can't let Kyler Murray run for 90 yards and throw for 400. But Vikings have been a more complete team than I've seen them in the last handful of years. Favored Vikings. If I was betting it, I'd take the over in the game.
Sean, I want to talk about real quickly about last night's game. This Buccaneers team, they're obviously 3-5. A lot of people are shocked by this. What do you think the real problem is going on with this Buccaneers team as we saw last night?
I think listen, the thing is we've been so spoiled for so long with number 12 that if he throws for 325 and only one touchdown, we think, oh, they suck, or he's done. Well, it probably is going to let this is
1 minute.
The last go. He'll be broadcasting next year, but listen, they look slow. Defensively, they're really good. Now, they were banged up last night, and anytime you're playing Lamar Jackson, you better tackle him. And I love the fact that Greg Roman, his coordinator, put the ball in his hand early in the game. They threw it 30 times and said, I can win this way, too, with him shouldering it all and throwing it when we're not running it very much. And then they shifted back to mixing in the run. So they had an interesting kind of a different plan than they usually go about their business. And they made it tough on Tampa throughout. And the defense has been the strength of their team this year. With Tampa, their offense just looks off. They just do. They don't look like the same. There's a sense of urgency for whatever reason. Of course, they're trying and they want to win, but it's like they're a step slow getting to the hole. It's like Tom's not quite Tom as we're used to seeing with pinpoint deep ball accuracy. They're forcing more things than I normally see him. Mike Evans will drop a ball and not get his foot down when normally Mike would make that play all the time. They feel sluggish, slow, and a lack of urgency on offense. And as they can come out of it because the NFC South isn't very good. But anybody that's watched them, and I've seen every one of their games, all 4 quarters, I don't believe. I mean, if this is the team we think has a chance to be a playoff team, it'll only be because the division is bad. And I had them going to the Super Bowl when the season started, yet all these injuries and something's missing. Their urgency and lack of put your foot on the throat, which I normally see. That opening drive last night, we thought, okay, Tampa, this is the Buccaneers we're used to. And then they got back into the same old act. I think the Buccaneers are if they're fortunate enough to get into the playoffs in that division, they don't have enough firepower to win it all unless they have a shift of paradigms. Defense is going to have to keep them in games and Brady, but this is not a championship team right now. They're seeing slow on offense.
All right, Sean. Look, I know you got things to take care of. It's always great when we catch up to you. And I'm just going to live vicariously through you and Mattress Mac throughout this World Series, okay?
You know what? And I'm not going to apologize one damn bit for it. You bet, my man. I'm going to milk it like crazy and have a blast. And in truth, I appreciate the comment, guys. Thanks for having me on. I don't ever take these moments for granted. I cherish these memories. I'm still wide-eyed. Like, not only is it the World Series, but I'm sitting next to a buddy and having a great time. And, bucket list for me that I've never done is been to World Series, but where you go to each city the team's playing in. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of going to be a cool experience for me, but yeah, I cherish these moments, and even at my age, I don't take them for granted. It's a blessing, so thank you. And I'll share all the good stories next week with you when I come on.
You're the best, pal. Have a great time. Thank you, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me. Okay.
There you go. Sean Salisbury, great commentary on the World Series and, of course, the game this weekend with the Cardinals and the Vikings. Sean Salisbury, driven by All City Towing, and All City Towing continues to be hiring, folks. Look, if you need a new gig, just get on their website. Just go to allcitytowing.com/careers. That's allcitytowing.com/careers. Look, they have very good benefits for you, and they pay an excellent salary as well. It's allcitytowing.com/careers, Arizona's largest towing, transport, and vehicle provider, allcitytowing.com. By the way, you want to make plans for football action at any of the Twin Peaks locations in the Valley? Man-size Blue Moon and Core Lights draft specials, plus make sure to enter to win the customized backyard patio kit right now. Just text PEAKS to 55678. That's PEAKS, 55678, and you can enter, and you can do it once a day. All right, coming up, it's our 72 sold on this day. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, with Jax and Ben, and we're broadcasting live today from Wright Toyota in North Scottsdale.
Nice.
That past becomes your future, and your former present becomes the past.
A quick reflection on some of the more memorable moments in sports and pop culture. Time for your
Guys are hot.
Sold on this day report. Get our price, a higher price at 72sold.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. It is On This Day, and it always is presented by 72 Sold. And, Jax, how about this? On this day, 2016, first World Series game played at Wrigley Field in 71 years.
Wow.
I mean, they had no World Series for over 100 years. They finally broke that curse, the curse of the Billy Goat. The Indians, by the way, they were playing Cleveland in that series, won that game 1-0. Over the Cubs, but it was the first World Series game played there in over 71 years, and it took place on this day. In the meantime, 41 years ago, 1981, Los Angeles Dodgers beat the New York Yankees in 6 games to win the World Series.
Do you remember that, Jimmy? Because I was not alive.
I knew you were going to say that. How did I? Ben, were you alive in 81?
I wasn't even close. I wasn't even a thought in my parents' eyes.
Oh my God, I hate
this. This is all you.
I hate both of you guys right now. Damn, this is tough. I'm not going to do this anymore. 26 years ago. Now, 1996. Were you guys both alive in 1996?
I was not. No, I was born in 99.
You are getting warmer, but I was born in 98.
Oh God, now I really hate you guys. Well, this turned out to be a tragic story. Even more than what took place that day. 1996, Richard Jewell, he was cleared of committing the Olympic Park bombing in Atlanta, and he held a news conference to thank his mother for standing by him. He lashed out at investigators, meaning the police, and as he was depicted as the bomber. Now, I think there was a movie about this as well. Did you see the movie?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh,
I remember watching
something. You saw.
I remember
something.
watching the movie because people thought it was this guy, and there was hundreds of people just standing out of his apartment every single day.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, it's a crazy. I forget what the movie's called, but I recommend people watching it because I didn't know that.
It's called Richard Jewell.
Okay, well, yes, there you go. It's called Richard Jewell. But yeah, what a crazy story that was.
And it was amazing. And then they finally caught the actual bomber. He was hiding in North Carolina someplace. But man, oh man, when that took place in '96, and it was downtown for the Olympics, and that bomb discharged, and Richard Jewell actually was security personnel trying to get people out of there is what he was attempting to do. And to be honest with you, I'd have to go back and revisit everything that was said about him. But, man, it was bad. And he really suffered the slings and arrows of a media beatdown for quite a while until his name was cleared. All right, some more information. Which team has the most expensive beer in the NBA? Your favorite, Jax. Who has the most expensive beer? Who would you guess?
It's got to be one of the hottest teams, maybe in the league. Someone that's won a lot of championships. Maybe the Lakers?
Nope.
No.
But you're close. It's in California. It's the Golden State Warriors.
Wow, really?
In San Francisco. And they are also joined by the Boston Celtics, who was a good call on your part. They've won a lot of titles. The Warriors and Celtics fork over more than $17 for 16 ounces. If you go to a Warriors game or a Celtics game, more than $17 for 16 ounces of your liquid refreshment.
If I'm getting a $17 16-ounce beer, Jimmy, that needs to be in a golden cup, a golden souvenir Warriors championship cup that I can keep. Are you kidding me, Jimmy? $17?
$17 for that.
Hey, you got to pay that luxury tax somehow.
That's $1 an ounce. That's over $1 an ounce.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
wow.
It's amazing. The Denver Nuggets, by the way, are next, followed by the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets, the New Orleans Pelicans, and then the Dallas Mavericks. All of those teams charge about $12 a beer.
That's still expensive for me. Come on, give us $5 to $6 beers.
Okay.
If you want the fan base to be rowdy, make the beers cheaper.
All right, I'll do that for you right now. Cleveland Cavaliers only charge $5.25 for a 16-ounce brew.
2 minutes.
Are you going to Cleveland?
I'm going to Cleveland. Cleveland, this is for you, as LeBron said.
Yes, that is correct. That's great. The Oklahoma City Thunder are next at $6, and then followed by the Detroit Pistons, Atlanta Hawks, and the Indiana Pacers. Does anybody go to the Pacers games anymore?
I forgot the Pacers were even an NBA team,
my
Jimmy.
gosh.
I'm not going to lie.
Look at you. So if you were going to take into account everything for going to a San Francisco Golden State Warriors game, because now their arena is in San Francisco, no longer in Oakland, they are the most expensive team to attend a game. Going to a Warriors game in the Bay Area averages out to almost $700 for 2 adults and 2 kids.
Wow.
$700. That's with food, refreshment, the tickets, everything, parking. $700 for 2 adults and 2 kids.
Ooh,
That's a lot of jack.
I guess it's pricey if you want to see the Splash Bros play up in San Francisco.
Well, there you go. The Pacers, isn't it funny how they're still on this list, are the cheapest for a family of 4, just under $150. The Orlando Magic then are the second cheapest.
Oh, hey, kids, what are you guys doing tonight? Oh, you guys want to go to a Pacers game? No wonder why it's so cheap. Oh, my goodness.
30.
I don't even know who their star player is, Jimmy. Who's their star player?
Who's their star player?
Tyrese Halliburton. Come on, guys.
That's it.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Tyrese?
Oh, yeah, he played on the Kings.
Yes.
Yeah,
they got
right.
him. Yeah, they got him in the trade with DeMonta.
And they had DeAndre Ayton for 10 seconds.
Yeah, they did for 10 seconds. That's right. They did.
10 seconds.
Right. Yeah, it was about 10 seconds. All right, that's On This Day, powered by 72 Sold, America's leading home selling program. No better way to sell your home than at 72 Sold. Just go to 72sold.com and get the easiest, fastest, most profitable way to sell your home. 72 Sold. Get our price, a higher price at 72 Sold. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910.
I'm
Sports 910.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's hour number 2. We roll all the way until 4 o'clock. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, with Jax and Ben working the show today. The guys get a well-deserved Friday off, so you are sequestered nicely. If you're driving in your car, if you're listening via streaming, however you want to listen to the show, or you've got it wired up here as well. We're on like TV.
Oh, yeah. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube right now. You can see our lovely faces. See Jimmy's bright pink hat going on right now. All the flowers. Right. Yep. He's standing up. He's ready to go.
That's it.
Excited to be here at Wright Toyota. There's a ton of costumes going on here, too.
This is great. It is a costume party today at Wright Toyota. I was hanging out with Dr. Evil, and he got upset when I called him Mini-Me, and he's a much bigger guy than me. But so I didn't argue with him. So then I hung out a little bit with Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. He's here. Beetlejuice is also here as well. I did see the Joker. So if you need a vehicle, you can just come on down to Wright Toyota, and you can have a great time, too, because everybody's in a Halloween costume.
Yeah, it just shows you how much personality they have here at Wright Toyota. Yeah. Imagine coming here for the first time and buying your first car from Spider-Man. Oh, my God.
He's sitting down with people right now in that costume. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
There's a guy here, too, with a wig on. He's got a bra. He's got a baby attached to him. It's all fun here at Wright Toyota.
We're having a great time. All right, let's go.
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
Well, there's a lot of action going on locally here and then also on the road. So let's start locally right now, where the Suns are back in action tonight. New Orleans Pelicans will be the opposition. And look, this is a really good team in New Orleans, but Jax, half their team is injured and may not play tonight.
Yeah, and you hate to see it, Jimmy, because these two teams battled in the playoffs last year. So right now for the Pelicans, Brandon Ingram will be out tonight. Zion Williamson will be a game-time decision, questionable with a hip injury. You would assume that he probably sits out because there's so many other players that are sitting out as well. You got Herbert Jones, who was a star last year. He was a rookie, questionable with the knee injury. C.J. McCollum, questionable as well, and Jose Alvarado is questionable.
Tell me no.
I know. I really liked watching Jose Alvarado.
I loved watching him play.
But, yeah, this is a Pelicans team, Jimmy. I think that's going to be one of the contenders in the Western Conference Finals.
Absolutely.
And they're going to scare some teams if you play the Pelicans in June or in May or in April. They're going to shock some teams. But, yeah, I mean, the Suns here, you got to win tonight. Got to be 4-1. They're in a good situation right now. Not a lot of injuries, but they got some players that have been stepping up.
Well, you have to take care of business, and as they like to say in tennis, hold serve. Mm-hmm. And you want to do it on your home court. Also, this evening, it's going to be wild, and it's going to be a lot of fun. 5,000 people are going to be packed into the Mullet Arena in Tempe as the Coyotes are going to entertain the Winnipeg Jets. It is their first home game of this NHL hockey season.
Yeah, and who else would they rather play than the Winnipeg Jets?
Correct.
Who were that? I believe it was the expansion team that they were coming off of.
And then they moved. They moved Winnipeg to Arizona, and then they finally got the team back in Winnipeg.
Yeah, it'll be a good atmosphere. I mean, 5,000 fans. The first 5,000 fans. Obviously, it's sold out. People were kind of making fun of the visitors' locker room. They're still kind of under construction. How to manage an NHL team in a college arena. But I'm excited, man. I mean, the Coyotes debut in a new place. It's exciting.
It is exciting. And look, they went 2-4 on this road trip, 6-game road trip, because things weren't completed yet at the arena on the ASU campus. So they had 6 games to open up the road trip, and they went 2-4 on that road trip. So this will be the first of 4 straight home games now at the Mullet Arena. And it cracks me up. And I don't know the people, and I'm sure that they are tremendous fans, but just Mullet,
yeah.
And playing a Canadian team tonight, where the mullet was basically invented as a hairstyle. Everything just came together symmetrically, I guess, to set this up for tonight at the Mullet Arena. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And look, I'm going to watch both of these games. I'm going to go back and forth on them and pay close attention to everything. And there is a little thing called baseball. Jax, I'm telling you, I cannot believe that they did not begin the World Series until today.
Yeah, and part of that, too, would probably be the rain delays that kind of postponed the games. Maybe it kind of did something with the schedule, too. But, yeah, if you're the World Series, maybe in the MLB coming up next year, I think they got to start the World Series a lot sooner as football is drawn basically the whole country's eyes over baseball.
It is. I mean, there is so much more to pay attention to right now. NHL's underway, NBA is underway, college football, NFL football. It's all right in front of us. And you had an interesting stat in our first hour about how many days is it now, consecutive days?
Yeah, it's from now until I believe November 30th. So it's almost about a month. Every single day there'll be either NFL, college, or both football on every single day until through Thanksgiving. So on Monday, NFL, Tuesday, probably college, Wednesday, college, Thursday, NFL and college, and then you get the point.
Yes, I do. Yes, so MACtion then will be back. The MAC playing on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. That's always fun. I always enjoy watching some of those games. Last night in the NFL, Tampa Bay gets beat 27-22 in Tampa. Lamar Jackson threw for 238 yards and a couple of scores for the Baltimore Ravens in that game. And Baltimore combined to rush for 231 yards on the ground. They just ran right through and over and around that Tampa Bay defense. But the magic of Lamar was on display last night. Here's one touchdown throw, and we say thank you to Amazon Prime.
Hill is still in there. 2nd and 7. Jackson surveys, under pressure. Throws, and it's in the back of the end zone. Hold in there by Likely. Touchdown. Boy, that rookie is having some night.
So did you just put him on your fantasy team?
I need to. I'm about to, probably next week. I'm likely about to do that.
You're likely going to be putting Likely on your fantasy team?
Oh, 100%. I mean, this Ravens team, I mean, he looked like, I don't want to say he looked like Travis Kelce, but he looked like a great tight end just because of how Lamar, was his ability to confuse the defense with his eyes, his playmaking ability, and his feet last night was all on display. Ravens, you need to pay this man. Stop it. You need to pay Lamar Jackson. He's making these wide receiver threes on other teams who are on this team, like Duvernay, Porsche, which I didn't know who James Porsche III was until last night.
Right.
I mean, he's making these playmakers that are not top-tier guys look like top-tier guys. And if you can give him that talent on the outside, the sky's the limit for Lamar Jackson. You need to pay this guy.
All right, quickly in college football, ASU on the road. They will play tomorrow in beautiful Boulder, Colorado, against the Colorado Buffaloes. And Arizona is home tomorrow night as they host USC.
I'm excited to watch the USC-Arizona matchup. It's homecoming for Arizona as well. Rob Gronkowski will be there too.
Yeah.
So, things are going to be wild, but this is a good USC team that's got to bounce back after Utah lost. They had a bye last week. But Arizona, they're probably the best 4-loss team in the country right now. They've had a tough schedule, and they will throughout the rest of the year. Jaden Delore has been playing well as Jacob Cowling on the outside at receiver.
There you go, and that's what's going on right now in the Valley. Hey, are you looking for the easiest way to sell your home for top dollar? Even in this current housing market? It's Jimmy B to tell you how 72 Sold works. First, sell your home and get the sale price, a higher price for your home, meaning you get more than the selling traditionally price that was originally on that home. Second, avoid daily showings, which eliminates the inconvenience of those showings. And who has time anyway? And we are way too busy these days for all of those daily showings. Next, enjoy greater certainty. Now you've got greater control over your sale and closing date. And lastly, streamline the process. have your home sold in days instead of weeks or even months. Now, you'd be crazy to sell your home any other way. So for the easiest, fastest, most profitable way to sell your home, just go to 72sold.com. That's 72sold, the official real estate partner of the Cardinals and Diamondbacks. And now, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Just go to 72sold.com to get a higher price for your home. All right, a quick timeout as we continue to broadcast live today from Wright Toyota as we are right here on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, and a lot of the staff in costume. So you can come out, get a great new car or a terrific used vehicle as well, and hang out with everybody in costume here at Wright Toyota. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910.
1 second.
Meant for mornings. The Drive with Jody Ayler. Listen Monday 6 to 10 on
Guys are
Fox
hot.
Sports 910.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. We're rolling for you today from Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard is where you can find them. It's Halloween costume day. So, oh, man, I got the skipper is in the house as well. You got to like that. This is great. I'm having more fun just looking at the creativity of some of the costumes.
Yeah, I feel like a new person comes by every single time. It's like, how many people work here? It's just like there's like 50, 60 people that work here. Everyone's in a different costume.
Oh, I know. It's wonderful. It's really a good time. And if you're looking for a vehicle, either new or used, Wright Toyota is your best place to do your shopping. All right, let's start right now with a little on the Cardinals and the Vikings. And you and I both seem to like the Vikings to win the game this Sunday, but in a close game.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Cardinals play well against the Vikings here. Realistically, I think the Vikings are just more they're talented, they're coached well. And with the Cardinals injury report compared to the Vikings right now, it's looking like the Vikings are favored here. Cardinals just have too many people on the injury report, including people on the questionable list, which include offensive lineman DJ Humphries, cornerback Byron Murphy Jr., kicker Matt Prater, who's been questionable or out for the past couple of weeks, as well as Darrell Williams. And then reported out, which was reported by Arizona Cardinals an hour ago, will be James Conner, Dennis Gardeck, Rodney Hudson, who's been out for a couple of weeks, Max Garcia, and Christian Matthew.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough, and you're going to go in against a team that knows how to win close games, at least this season. That has not been their MO in past seasons, but it is their MO this year. I just find that Kirk Cousins, for all of the and probably deserved many times about being a guy who can't close, they have finally figured out a way to close, at least this year.
Yeah, and with their head coach, Kevin O'Donnell, at
He's
the point,
made a big difference.
Huge difference coming from the Rams. You can tell his offensive mind. And it's so crazy nowadays, Jimmy, how important it is with a coach and a quarterback to be on the same page, and how important the scheme fit in a quarterback. Like, we've seen quarterbacks for years go from one system to a different, and just like that, you see how much it elevates their game. So that's something that I think Kirk Cousins has adapted with him and O'Donnell.
All right, let's run around the NFL a little bit, because there are some pretty good matchups this weekend. And we'll start first, Dallas and Chicago. The Bears had that upset victory on the road in New England, and now they will play against the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott is injured, but Tony Pollard is the guy who's going to be carrying the football, and here he is.
I mean, it's just next guy up, in this league. That's the only thing that's guaranteed, injuries. It's a 100% injury in this league. So it's expected, and, the next guy got to be ready to step in. I mean, whatever they ask for me to carry, I got it. They call it, I'm going to haul it.
You call it, I'm all in it. That's a great soundbite. That's awesome.
Yeah, and if you're a Cowboys fan, I think you're happy that Tony Pollard's starting there. I think he's the more talented running back between the two, and Tony Pollard's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year, so this will be kind of his proving game as Zeke Elliott is sit. I'm assuming, just the outsider looking in, that this will probably be his last year and in Dallas, because I think he's more of that running back type, running back number one for another team in the league.
Okay, fair enough. The Vegas Raiders on the road at the Saints, and Jameis Winston for the Saints.
Ready.
We didn't see him last weekend. We saw Andy Dalton, and it's going to be apparently Andy Dalton that's going to start again.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're going with Andy Dalton when Jameis Winston's he's healthy.
Yeah.
To be 2-5 right now, and when you're going to be, if you lose this game, you're 2-6. You're in a bad situation. I mean, they're obviously only one game down with the Bucs, but I think you got to take advantage of the Bucs' struggles now, because later in the season, Tom Brady and them will start getting things clicking.
I'm with you on that. Here's the Saints head coach, Dennis Allen.
Yeah, look, all the quarterbacks were full today. Andy's going to get the start again this week. I feel like he's played well offensively. I feel like we're in a little bit of a rhythm. We've been moving the ball effectively again. We've scored points, and so we're going to continue down that road with Andy as the quarterback.
There you go.
I think it's an offensive decision, and what I mean by that is, in the last 4 weeks, again, we're one of the top offenses in terms of moving the ball. We're one of the top offenses in terms of scoring points, and that's really the name of the game. And so we're going to continue doing what we've been doing.
Well, that's Dennis Allen, and he's correct about that. They put up over 500 yards on the Cardinals, but Andy Dalton threw 2 pick sixes and was intercepted in the end zone on another throw.
Yeah, besides those picks in that game against the Cardinals, I thought he played well, Jimmy, too. I mean, he's a smart quarterback. Hopefully he can be smarter against the Raiders this week. They don't really have the secondary or the defensive talent like the Cardinals do, but we'll see. I mean, these are 2 teams that a lot of people thought would be better through 7 or 8 games, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, New England at the New York Jets. Now, why are we even discussing the New York Jets? Well, here's why. They've got a winning record. Are they doing it with smoke and mirrors? Yes, I believe that's the case. But after New England was upset last weekend at home by the Bears, now head coach Bill Belichick indicating, I'm not going to let anybody in on who the starter's going to be.
We'll see how it goes here today. Look, we're not doing anything here. We haven't practiced. We're going to go out and we're going to see how it goes today. All right?
What we decide.
We'll see how it goes today.
But what do you have to see today?
We'll see how it goes today.
Him in the media, man. I love it.
It's great. It's always the same. Like I've interviewed Bill, I don't know how many times, and he is a pretty funny guy. But when he just stands up at the microphone and he just deadpans everything, just like what he's, we'll just see how it goes today. See how it goes today.
Jimmy, doesn't that drive you insane?
He doesn't do it, though, if you're interviewing
3 minutes.
him. I interviewed him one time. I did the Buffalo Bills and New England game. It was probably around 2000 I did that game. And after the game, I was walking out onto the field, and then I walked into the tunnel, and the network then asked me if I could do a quick interview with Belichick that they wanted to use later on that night. And I said, yeah, I'd be happy to. And I walked over. Bill came right over to me. I asked him a couple of questions. He gave me great answers for about a minute and a half, and boom, we were done.
Yeah, he strikes me more as a one-on-one interview kind of guy, or when the cameras are off. So I feel like he talks more and kind of gives more insight.
He's a very clever and funny individual off camera. I can just tell you that. All right, Pittsburgh at Philadelphia. The Eagles, in a trade, get 3-time All-Pro defensive end from the Bears, Robert Quinn, and they got him for a 4th-round pick.
Yeah, this defense has been playing well all season, so might as well add one of the best pass rushers in the league right now, Robert Quinn. They got so much depth on this defense with Hassan Reddick, with Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and now you got Robert Quinn here. I was frustrated the Cardinals didn't attack Robert Quinn,
right?
But it just makes the Philadelphia Eagles that much stronger.
All right, I want to make sure I get this game in. San Francisco at the LA Rams. This should really be a head knocker. Rams coming off the bye. The Rams coming off the bye.
Ready.
San Francisco coming off the loss to Kansas City. Here's Rams defensive tackle and star, maybe the best, I suppose, best defensive player in the NFL. Here's Aaron Donald.
Yeah, it's more. That's why this is important to be more like gaps.
Debo's out in this game.
Not getting out your gap, not just out there, at times trying to not play too aggressive because that's where they can hurt you at. Obviously, I'm going to try to just cut you out your gap, get a ball, give a little toss to the back, and able to cut and make a lot of things happen. So it's a headache because when you want to just be aggressive and just go try to make that big play, but when you tend to do that, they tend to gas you in certain ways that we got to try to eliminate.
All right, so that's Aaron Donald on the upcoming game. Interesting. Debo is out. But didn't they just pick up Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah, it's got a crazy time in there.
Yeah. So I don't think you're going to miss a beat. And now he arrived last week on a Friday, and he ended up playing on Sunday and did well for the short amount of time that he was in. Now he's had a full week of practice.
Yeah, I saw a stat when I was watching the Fox game between the 49ers and the Chiefs last weekend, and it said that the 49ers have had the most injuries, I believe, since it was like 2019 or 2018, and they still managed to be dominant in the league.
Yeah.
That next man up mentality, it's crazy to me how Shanahan gets all of these gets these hate towards him sometimes about his play calling or about what he's doing for the 49ers, but to manage all these injuries that they've had and still be a dominant team is unreal. Like you said, Debo will be out this game as well.
Hello, Christian McCaffrey. Your time to shine, and I'm sure that he will indeed take advantage of it. Hey, look, if you're in the need for a patio grill set for your backyard, now is your chance to win a brand new patio grill set. Just text PEAKS to 55678. That's PEAKS, PEAKS to 55678. You will automatically be entered to win a customized backyard grill patio set. It's courtesy of Twin Peaks, Blue Moon, and Coors Light, and you can enter once a day. All right, it is week number 8 of the NFL, and there are also some very important college games that will affect conference standings. Scott Preitzer of DocSports.com. He's going to be here. He's going to break all those games down for us. It's coming up next. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910.
This weekend's biggest games with one of the nation's premier handicappers. From DocSports.com and seen every week on ESPN Sunday Countdown.
All right, Jimmy, after this, man, I'll be cutting a tease for the Scott Salisbury.
Help make sure your picks.
All right, you guys are hot.
With Roc and Manuch on Fox Sports 910.
Hey, everybody, welcome back in. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, with Jax and Ben today, and we're broadcasting live from Wright Toyota. It's always fun when we get the wizard on. It is indeed Scott Spreitzer, DocSports.com, and you can always follow him on Twitter at Scott Wins. How are you, man? It's Jim and Jax today.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I'm doing well, man. Friday, we got World Series starting. You know, I'm feeling good right now.
All right, perfect. All right, let's start then with the World Series. How does this play out for you?
Well, I'm first of all going to be. I played the over today at 6.5. Nothing big like that, but I thought there were decent reasons enough to actually play this game over. Nola, of course, being named the starter for Game 1.
instead of Wheeler, which I think is not a bad move for Philly. He can match up against Framber Valdez in game 2. But if you look at what Aaron Nola has done, he's actually been knocked around in 5 of his last 12 starts. In those 5 outings, 27 earned runs allowed, 40 base runners in 26 and 2/3 innings. And he did shut out Houston over 6+ innings back on October 3rd, but Houston had already wrapped things up, and they weren't really all that interested in having their guys out there for a full 9. And I was looking at Justin Verlander. He had starting on 9 days rest. His 2 postseason starts so far were on irregular, lengthy rest. They were both shaky. He gave up 6 runs and 11 base runners in 4 innings against Seattle. Wasn't at his best the first 3 innings against New York, but the Yankees and their bats went dormant about a month before the playoffs started. So I think you'll see both teams doing a little bit of damage at the plate. The game will get over 6.5, guys.
All right. I like where you're going there on that. Let's turn our attention then to some big college football games. And in the Big Ten, it's number 2 Ohio State at number 13 Penn State. I'm real curious to see where you're going on this game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we had Ohio State last week, nice, easy win. But when you get 54 points, you think your team's going to have more than 360 yards. They were gifted a lot by Iowa, but that's what the Hawkeyes do. Yep. The problem with Penn State when backing them is that James Franklin, he does take a lot of flack for not being at his best in big games when big prizes, so to speak, are on the line. But they've covered 5 of 6 against the Buckeyes. They looked good last week against Minnesota, and I know the Gophers were down to a freshman quarterback. But listen, the Nittany Lions built a lot of key numbers against a somewhat soft schedule. That's the scary part. But there's a ton of defensive players with questionable status this week for Ohio State, and they haven't exactly faced a murderer's row of opponents. I don't want to take away too much from Ohio State, but they're going up against the most talented secondary they've seen, especially at corner. And look at who they've beaten: Iowa, Michigan State, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Toledo, Arkansas State, Notre Dame. The best team they played out of that mix was Notre Dame, and they only scored 21 in an 11-point win. So I'm going to lean to Penn State here, guys, at plus 15.5. I think they hang that number at home.
Okay.
All right, Scott. The second biggest game of the weekend, number 9, Oklahoma State at 22, Kansas State. Now, Kansas State is favored by 1.5 here. This is Oklahoma State's second weekend in a row that they're the underdog. And I'm wondering why they're favored, because Kansas State's quarterback, Adrian Martinez, will be a game-time decision as well. What are your takes on this game?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Will Howard being the quarterback if Adrian Martinez can't go. And in fact, if you watch last week's game, for instance, against TCU, as an example, Adrian Martinez got knocked out. He only threw 2 passes at the time. And Will Howard comes in, and they were fine. They built that 28-10 lead over TCU, and then Will Howard gets injured. And by the time he came back in the game, the mojo, the momentum, whatever you want to call it, had switched sidelines, and he was basically done. I mean, they were done. They lost 38-28. So I don't have a problem with Will Howard filling in for Martinez if Adrian's unable to go. Oklahoma State's weakness is their pass defense, and we know K-State wants to run no matter who plays quarterback. But I think what could happen here is they can open up a few holes in the running game by throwing some of those short passes that Will Howard could actually, we've seen an example of him being able to make. Nothing but respect for Oklahoma State quarterback Spencer Sanders, but man, that defense could be ugly. 117th in total yards allowed per game. The ground game on offense is okay, but nothing special. I think K-State ekes out the win, whether it's Howard or Martinez at quarterback.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to the SEC conference. And number 15, Ole Miss, who got beat by LSU last weekend, they're going to be at Texas A&M. Before you give us the lowdown on the spread and everything, and it's very small, what's going on with A&M now?
Exactly. And I got to tell you guys, I can make this pretty quick because I was thinking if Ole Miss lost to LSU, I was going to come back and go against them and play A&M this week, with Ole Miss having a kind of not quite a bubble burst scenario, but along those lines. And I was going to do that, but it's an absolute mess in College Station, as you kind of alluded to there. And if they win, so be it. But I decided to pass. I mean, there's talk by some close to the program of this mass exodus on the horizon, including 6 5-star players and a 4-star. That doesn't even include the 3 offensive linemen who are already out for the rest of the season. So there's all this uncertainty with Texas A&M, and there was simply no way that I was going to bet this game, because the numbers, if A&M is focused and has enough decent first and second stringers on the field for this game, I think they win the football game. But with the mess that they are off the field, kind of getting onto the field at times. I just think it's a great game to pass and not get involved in.
Scott Spreitzer, DocSports.com sports betting expert, joins us here on the Right Toyota guest line. All right, Scott, let's go into the NFL here. Bears at Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 9 points. A lot of points favored in the Cowboys right now. They're starting to get things rolling, but the Bears coming off of a big win on Monday night. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, Cowboys up to 10 now, guys. A lot of points over the last hour or so. But this Bears team, I guess, we can pass it off as smoke and mirrors, but it looks like they're also well coached and the players are buying into it when you consider the lack of offensive skill position talent, yet they're, winning football games more often than I thought they would this year. When you consider Justin Fields' weak numbers throwing the football and see what this team could do on the ground without having to have a threat of a passing game, it's kind of surprising. They're number one in the league in yards rushing per game. In fact, I believe it's like fifth in yards rushing per game at this point of a season in the last 40 years of NFL action. So they're moving defenses off the line of scrimmage. The defense is sixth in the league in points allowed per game. There's no Zeke for Dallas in this game this week, but I do believe Dallas is going to get him here. I worry about an 8-point win type of game where they're dominating but only win by 7 or 8 points. Their weakness on defense, relatively speaking, is run defense. As I mentioned, Chicago can run the football. But Chicago's already weak defensive front, just lost its only quality player when they traded Robert Quinn away after the big Monday night game. And now you got Micah Parsons on the other side of the football, the number one sack defense in the league. So when Fields decides to drop back, he's likely to face a ton of pressure. I got to go with the Cowboys, even though there's that big number.
Okay, fair enough. And the game that will be dialed in here, the Cardinals coming off that win against New Orleans on Thursday night. Now we'll play at the Minnesota Vikings. Is it still at -3?
3.5 now, guys, in a lot of shots.
Okay.
And, the Vikings are outside the top 20 in a lot of key defensive metrics, and I'm including both the running game and the passing game. And if Arizona's O-line can open holes against this Minnesota defensive front, which, by the way, the Minnesota defensive front is not necessarily the problem with the stop unit. D-line's not too bad. But I think Arizona, if they can open things up a little bit, get a decent running game going, even an effective 3.7, 3.8 yards per carry, doesn't have to be crazy, then they could beat this team. And on the flip side, Arizona isn't bad against the run. They will face Dalvin Cook. But the Cardinals' pass defense needs to step it up. We all know that. They have a dozen passing touchdowns on the season. They've got some defensive metrics against the pass that's near the bottom of the league. But having said that, I love that Arizona road mark against the spread, 21-8-1 in their last 30 away from home. And Minnesota has 0 impressive wins on the season. I like Arizona getting more than 3 here. You look at Minnesota, who they've beaten, Miami when Tua's banged up, Chicago, New Orleans on a neutral field, the Detroit Lions, and the Green Bay Packers in week 1. That win doesn't look all that great any longer. Their only real step-up game, they got beat by Philly 24-7. I believe Arizona keeps their winning ways on the road going this week, at least as far as covering the spread.
All right, Scott. Now I want to go back to college, and here in the state of Arizona, Arizona is hosting USC, and ASU is on the road at Colorado. Let's start first then with Arizona and USC. And USC's got to be upset since they had that one loss.
Yeah, it's about a 15.5-point spread right now, and I'm not going to be involved in this game, but believe it or not, I lean towards the Wildcats in this contest. And I know they've given up a ton of yards in conference action. You're able to run on this football team, so you would think like a guy like Travis Dye is able to really get it going. He's averaging about 6 yards per carry. But one of the things USC has done when they've won games and they've won going away has been benefiting from numerous turnovers. So if Arizona can, squash the turnovers on their own a little bit, then they can hang around in this game. So it's a lean. It's not going to be a play, guys, but I do lean on the Wildcats in that one.
All right, then ASU on the road at Colorado, and both of these teams have changed coaches in the middle of the season.
I was really bummed about Colorado changing coaches because it was an automatic play for me every week. I mean, that team's defense was so bad, and you could just run up and down the field on them. And we saw a little spark out of the Colorado Buffaloes when they made that coaching change. Having said that, I still think the run defense is going to get ripped up in this one. You got Galladay for Arizona State, who I think is going to be able to take advantage of this Colorado defense against the run and pull away to the win in the cover. It's about, 13.5 or so I'd like ASU to get the win here by a couple touchdowns.
All right. And if people want to find you and get all the great information, how do they go about that, Scott?
Two ways to do it, docsports.com, which is docsports.com, or on Twitter at Scott Wins. And guys, I'm not being cocky with the Scott Wins. It's just I don't know how to spell my last name. So there you go.
Well, that simplified everything for everybody with the Scott Wins thing. Thank you, man. We'll always have a good time enjoying you on the show, and enjoy all the sports activity this weekend.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
There you go. Scott Spreitzer. That's so funny. Yeah, nobody can spell my last name, so that's why at Twitter I just went with Scott Wins.
Yeah, I always wondered.
That's a good call.
I always wondered why he had that there. It's a bold name a sports betting guy, but I mean he wins probably more than he loses. There's no doubt.
He does well. Also, his website is docsports.com. All right. By the way, make sure that you tune in tomorrow because it's the only local sports gambling show here in the state. Take the Points. It's presented by Casino Arizona. They broadcast the show live from the sports book at the CAZ Sports Bar. It's Bauer, it's Gross, and my partner today, Jax, is here. You guys do a great job.
I appreciate that. It's always fun. You never know how the show's going to go with myself, Bauer, and Gross. It's a great time with those fellas. We'll have a great show for tomorrow. Uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice. That's tomorrow at 11. Check us out, watch us, or even listen to us.
Now, you can go in and watch the show as well, right? I mean, the sports book and sports bar are open, and the games begin at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, they got about 20 to 30 TVs with about every single game that you have. The sports book is open in the morning. You can come watch us and even watch some college football as well.
All right, I like it. Hey, ACTV, speaking of college football, Channel 7, they have college football on their program right now. It is the best athletes and some great football, high-energy halftime bands and coverage you won't find on any other station. This week's game, Arkansas Pine Bluff at Florida A&M, and they kick at 1 o'clock. All right, coming up, this is going to be a lot of fun. It is our Valley Chevy Dealers random fact of the day. It's got something to do with the telephone. Not mine, not my flip phone.
Still have the flip phone, Jimmy.
Yeah, well, it's going to go by the wayside here pretty soon. By the end of the year, I can't use it anymore. Finally, it's going to die. It's coming up. It is our Valley Chevy Dealers random fact of the day. It's next on Fox Sports 910.
Did you know that Troy Aikman in only 6 years has passed for 16,303 yards? Did you know the career record for most hits is 4,256 by Pete Rose, who is not in the Hall of Fame?
Do you know that my next door neighbor has...
Guys are hot.
Now time for Fox Sports 910's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B to give you the random facts of the day driven by your Valley Chevy dealers. Find new roads at your Chevy dealer. For a dealer near you, head to valleychevy.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back in. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Jackson Ben working today, and we are in Wright Toyota here in Scottsdale, right on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. If you need a new car or a used car, just stop on by. They are doing Halloween today, and there are some terrific costumes that the staff has put on to have a lot of fun. I just sit here during the commercial breaks and laugh at all these guys.
It's spooky season, Jimmy.
It is.
They got the skeleton in the front. They got some decorations going on in the office as well. They got it. They're doing it right here at Wright Toyota.
I like it. All right, time now for the random facts of the day. It's always presented by Valley Chevy. And this is the one that I spoke about just coming into this segment about cell phones, okay? Jax, you're going to fall off your chair when you see this.
Okay.
More than 5 billion phones, that's with a B, billion phones will be thrown away in 2022. That is more than enough to stretch all the way around the equator.
Wow, including your phone right here.
Hey, don't be beating up my phone.
I know
here.
it's a sensitive topic, Jimmy.
I've only got like another month with it. It's been a love affair for 10 years here. So,
wow. I mean, that number is large. It doesn't surprise me a little bit because every year they got a new iPhone coming out and people want to kind of, upgrade their phone and throw away the other one. But 5 billion is a lot.
That is absolutely mind-blowing. 5 billion phones will be thrown away in 2022, including my flip phone, because I'm going to have to make that change.
Don't throw it away, Jimmy. At least put
you
it
want
on
me to keep it?
It's got to be in the Hall of Fame someday. You never know. It could be worth $1 million a couple of years from now.
I don't think anybody wants this garbage flip phone, but hey, it worked for me, and that's all I really cared about. Anyway, here are a couple of other facts that we're going to throw at you, and we're going to do this a little different because these were featured on an edition of Jeopardy, and it was called Another Shot at the Title. So I'll try to answer as best I can, Jax, and you will be the host of Jeopardy. So here we go.
Yeah, Jimmy, I've always wanted to be the host of Jeopardy, and here is my debut. Okay. Ben, let's get the music rolling. All right, Jimmy, let's test your sports knowledge.
All right.
For $200. Serena Williams beat Angelique Kerber.
God, I gotta help the boy
for the 2016 ladies singles title at this event. But Kerber got her revenge in 2018. Jimmy, your answer.
All right, now you know that I was a tennis player and still play a lot. So I would watch this event, and I did watch both events, so I know this one. And it would be Wimbledon.
What is Wimbledon? Usually it's in the form of a question.
I have to do that,
Jimmy,
yes.
But
okay, yes. What is Wimbledon?
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay,
one for one, Mr. Brinson. All right, going on to $400.
Uh-oh.
After losing to the Warriors in the 2015 NBA Finals. In 2016, LeBron and company beat them to bring this city its first NBA title.
Well, that's pretty simple because I watched every NBA championship final series since I was about 10 years old. So I will say that it was done, and I'll quote LeBron, "Cleveland, this is for you." Is that right?
So
wait, I have to say, I have to do
in
it
the
this
question,
way.
Jimmy.
Yes. So what is Cleveland?
Correct, Jimmy. 2 for 2, and that one was your first correct answer, I guess, in the form of a question, but we'll give you some slack on the first one.
Okay,
all right,
thanks.
We're going up to $600, Jimmy.
All right.
After 5 previous World Series losses to these crosstown rivals in 1955, a couple years ago, you were about, I don't know, how old were you there, 50? 50, who knows?
I hate you guys. I really do.
The Brooklyn Dodgers finally beat them for the title.
The Brooklyn Dodgers. All right. Wasn't the Giants. So
Are you stumped on this one, Jimmy?
Yeah, I got to think about. Okay, they beat them for what was the year again?
It was 1955.
Oh, okay. Now I know what it is then.
2 minutes.
It is who are the New York Yankees?
Correct.
Woo-hoo!
Jimmy, guys, this guy
I'm
is
on
legit.
fire.
This guy is a legend. He knows his stuff. But all right, Jimmy, we're going up to $800. We're gonna talk boxing.
Right in my wheelhouse.
Stripped of his heavyweight title in 1967.
Yes.
So Jimmy was about 67 years old.
I
here.
interviewed Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali won it back with a KO to this champ in the 1974's Rumble in the Jungle.
What is Zaire, Africa, and what is George Foreman?
Correct. Who is George Foreman is the correct answer. I thought you were about to get that wrong there, Jimmy.
Well,
I'm not going to lie.
I had to put in the whole thing. And you got to remember back then, they didn't have pay-per-view. To watch this fight, you went to a movie theater and paid to get in.
Try to speed up.
And everything was it was spectacular. All right.
And lastly, Jimmy, for $1,000.
Yes.
After losing to Toronto in 1918, you were probably alive during this, Jimmy. This team won its first NHL title the next year and has now won more than any other team.
Well, I did not know the answer to this when you said 1918. And you horse's ass, I wasn't alive at that time. I want you to know that. But if you're saying it's the team
1 minute.
it won the most NHL titles, that would be what is the Montreal Canadiens?
Folks, this guy is good. He knows his stuff. Jimmy B went 5 for 5 and took home all the money. Congrats, Jimmy. You have won Jeopardy.
Oh, God, I'll have to buy dinner for you two bozos tonight. I know that'll be the case. Those are our random facts. It's all brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers, serving the Valley for over 80 years.
30.
Go to valleychevy.com. Coming up in hour number 3, we're going to look at the top stories of the day. We'll break down the Cards win over the Saints and get you ready for the Vikings and also some of the top college games. It's all coming your way next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, who is not really that old, live from Wright Toyota on
10.
Fox Sports 910.
Hey.
Roc.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 9.
You guys are hot.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's our final hour. Don't all applaud at once.
Oh, I love it.
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Jax is here today, and Ben. The guys getting much needed R&R. Actually, they just needed a mental relaxation day to get away from me. So that's why they are not here today. All right, we are here at Wright Toyota, and they are in costume, and it is fun to check out the staff. They've done a really good job.
Yeah, and they still managed to sell some cars
Yes,
here. It's interesting seeing the little meetings in their offices, and it's you got the makeup on their face, you got wigs on, and these guys are still trying to buy cars and sell cars here at Wright Toyota.
It's a lot of fun.
It's comedic. You guys got to come down here and check this out.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot. Spider-Man walking by us right now as we speak. So that was pretty good stuff then. All right, Ben, let's go.
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
Well, if it wasn't for sports, we would just be totally bored, because everything in the wide world of sport is going on tonight and through this weekend. Let us begin right now locally, because the Suns are home tonight against the New Orleans Saints. But, Jax, you look at the New Orleans Pelicans, thank you. And this is a case in point where the Pelicans are just all beat up. And I just kind of wonder, Jax, what kind of roster they're going to put out on the court tonight.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what starting lineup they come with for the Pelicans. This is still a good Pelicans team that's pretty deep, but it's going to be tough without Brandon Ingram, who was out tonight. Zion Williamson, questionable game time decision with a hip injury. Herbert Jones, questionable with a knee injury. CJ McCollum, questionable with a PIP strain. And Jose Alvarado, your favorite player on the team, low back pain, will be questionable tonight. But I want to throw this back at you, Jimmy.
All right.
We talk about the Pelicans being hurt. We talk about the Suns as well. I know it's early. I know it's been only 4 games that the Suns have played.
Right.
You're a huge basketball guy, obviously a legend in the basketball announcing as well. What have you been most impressed with from the Sun squad so far?
I think right now, it's the consistency that they have had. And also, let me drop this on you, because the other day, Manuch and I and Roc, we were discussing the Suns and how they should set up offensively. And they are now, it appears anyway, early to make that commitment to drop the ball down low on the block to DeAndre Ayton and let him try to get into the flow of the game immediately. Because you can always play inside out. In other words, if you commit to that and you feed him the ball down low and the defense collapses, he kicks it out. You have good enough shooters who are going to hit that open jump shot. So that's exactly what took place in the game against the Golden State Warriors. Unfortunately, Ayton got into foul trouble, but then they brought in Jock Landale, and he puts up 17 points.
He's been phenomenal.
He's been
someone
very
that
well.
I didn't really know before this season. I was like,
ask your boy about Jock Landale.
What do you know about Jock Landale?
He's an Aussie who played at St. Mary's University and led them into the NCAA tournament. He's a legit 6'11 player who can run the floor. He can shoot it down low. He can shoot it outside. And he's an excellent rebounder. Not the shot blocker that, say, JaVale McGee like as a rim protector, but he does block shots just because of his size and height. I think in the game the other night against Golden State, he had 2 blocks in the short amount of time that he was on the floor.
Yeah, that's huge. When you got DeAndre Ayton, who is the focal point at center, and he's in foul trouble, to have him step up off the bench as well as Biyombo is huge for the Suns team. I love this team. I think they're youthful. It's good to see. You can kind of tell Cam Johnson is stepping up in a new role in the 4 spot as well.
Right. I like to see that. It'll be interesting when we get to about game 50 in the season, how well everything is meshing together. And if they can avoid any serious injuries to any of the players where somebody is out like for 6 weeks at a time. If they can stay relatively healthy, that's how you end up winning an NBA title. Also tonight, and I'm really looking forward to this, the Mullet Arena, which always cracks me up, is going to host the Coyotes. It is their home opener. Game is sold out, 5,000 seats. It's all they have over there at ASU in Tempe on campus. But it's going to be loud. I think it's going to be an entertaining hockey game. And ironically enough, they are hosting the Winnipeg Jets.
Jimmy, you'll get a kick out of this. The Coyotes, this was just announced, are giving out fans mullets ahead of their first game in ASU's Mullet Arena. Blonde wigs for all the fans that go out.
Why not?
Why not? It's Mullet Arena.
Embrace it. Have a great time. The mullet was created in Canada to begin with. I mean, that's their favorite hairstyle. So have a good time with it. I talked to a guy the other night and at a refreshment stand, and he was saying, oh, God, I really like hockey, but now the Coyotes are going to play in that arena. I don't even think I want to go. It's, it's not going to be fun anymore. Dude, are you nuts? It's going to be exciting as hell. It really is, because you can only have 5,000 there, and they're going to have 5,000 every night. Every home game will most likely be sold out. And I can't wait to see how it plays on TV. Look, the ice is the ice, okay? I feel like I'm Michael Jordan. The ceiling is the floor, okay? So essentially, you're playing on a sheet of ice that you play in every arena. The players are not going to be concerned if it's 5,000 or 15,000 people that are there. They're going to be concerned about playing against the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, and if you're the Coyotes, you would rather have a packed 5,000 than maybe a spread out 5,000 in a bigger arena. It's going to be a lot louder. You got diehard Coyotes and hockey fans. It's always great to see that hockey's on the come up here in Phoenix, and I love how they're promoting it with handing out wigs as well.
That to me, now that's great that you brought that up. They should do that. And they have the next 4 games, I believe, are home games. So they should do that as a giveaway just when fans come in, because you can have a good laugh the entire time. All right, there is baseball tonight. What? Baseball? Yes. I forgot all about it. I forgot all about the World Series because they took too damn long to start it up. After they were finished last weekend, they should have been playing by Wednesday, maybe Thursday at the latest. Jackson's Houston and Philadelphia tonight in Houston.
Houston and Philly. And I want to hear, actually, Ben is a huge baseball guy.
Is.
I want to hear his thoughts about the matchup here, the World Series Game 1.
Well, you see both teams. I think it mostly just comes down to pitching, especially in the postseason. I think Jimmy would obviously agree with that as well. And as much as I want the Phillies to win, to come out here with guys like Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber's Cotton Fire, I love Aaron Nola, but it's just going to come down to an arms race at the end. And Verlander will go likely 3 games if it's a long series, and you got other players in there. That's just going to be too hard, I think, for the Phillies to really overcome. So I think that's really just what you're going to see this weekend and throughout the series. I think it has the potential be pretty quick this upcoming series. Yeah,
you're not predicting a 4-game sweep, are you?
I wouldn't be surprised, but to be honest, I'd probably go 5 games.
Okay.
It's because you're going against a team, and that's what you want. You want a team that's hot going into the season. That's what happens with the Dodgers every year. Every year they come in, and every year they choke, which I love, but they come in and they're never hot, and that's kind of the problem that they have each and every year. Besides their 2020 World Series, that doesn't count because it's a shortened season. Just to
What do you mean it doesn't count? They
just
play.
To make some Dodger fans out there slam the steering wheel.
Just shut up. Okay, turn your mic off after that.
But it is a red October, so that's the only thing really that the Phillies have going for them. I think in matching up with the Astros is that they're exceedingly hot, and I think that's really that's all they have really.
Okay.
So when it comes between them and the Astros, I just see the talent-wise and especially the pitching-wise, I like the Astros to win it, and probably 6, but maybe even 5.
Wow. See, I was hoping that it would at least go 6.
Yeah, I hope so, too.
And maybe 7, because I love watching the World Series just because every pitch then means something. Or if you're just watching a random game throughout the summer, okay. I can go get a beer. I'm not going to miss anything.
Yeah, and you'd love to see the Phillies come out, at least the competitive series. I mean, Philadelphia is one of the most iconic sports cities in America. It's cool to see that they're in it, and I don't think they've won a World Series. Am I corrected? Or they haven't won one in forever? The Phillies?
Oh, no, they've won World Series.
Okay.
Yeah.
That just tells you I don't really know baseball
no, you don't,
too well.
So you might as well just give it up while you're still losing right now.
Oh, 100%.
That goes back to that age thing where you weren't alive when they won World Series.
That is a good point. That is a good point.
There you go. At any rate, World Series is tonight. Quickly on college football, ASU at Colorado tomorrow. Also, Arizona hosting USC.
Yeah, ASU, it'll be interesting to see what Sean Aguano does here. Emory Jones looked a little off against Stanford in a game that they should have won. I hope Trenton Bourget gets to start here. We'll see how they do. And then Arizona, homecoming game.
Right.
You got Gronk there. It's against USC, one of the top teams in the Pac-12. But look for USC to come out firing after their loss against Utah.
Fair enough. Hey, we are in like the second part of the season, the second quarter of the NFL season. And we are hosting Monday night tailgate. It's at Casino, Arizona. It's a huge hit. Jax is always there working the game, and it's packed, absolutely packed. And all you have to do is just show up, and you can win money. And the progressive jackpot is now over $1,700. That's right. Ooh. You walk in the door, you sit down, relax, order a cold one, get something to eat, watch football. You got a shot to win over $1,700, Jax.
And you just got to watch football and order food. I mean, come on. The deal is unreal there. You can pay for a $5 burger and come out with $1,700 or even more. It's a great deal there.
There you go. It is Monday night, this coming Monday. It will feature Cleveland and Cincinnati, and the doors are open at 4 o'clock. All right, so what is it that makes the Astros team so tough as they head into Game 1 against the Phillies tonight? And also, what is wrong with Tampa Bay? Well, we're going to go unfiltered, uncensored. Sean Salisbury coming up next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910.
Hey, Jackson, I'm going to need you to recut those.
Well, that's why I'm here. You know, and that's why I'm glad that, you know, brought me back here. And also to a place that, because most places I've been, and I've had to sort of rebuild the team, but this team was sort of built already, and I had to, you know, carry on and try to enhance what we already have here. And I don't know, I'm just a ball player that's trying to play ball and trying to win. I love to win. I've always said if I win one, I win two. So you got to win one first, and then we'll work on number two at that time.
Dusty Baker, how about that? I mean, look, Dusty has never won a World Series. He's a phenomenal manager. He walked into just a hornet's nest after all the cheating scandals with the Houston Astros and has guided that ship back into the World Series after a couple of seasons, and they are back. And so we say hello then to Sean Salisbury, and it's always great when we catch up to him right now, and he joins us. Sean, welcome. As always, it's Jim, it's Jax, and Ben on the show today. Roc is in Houston, getting ready for you to throw down and party with him, and Manuch is at a wedding, kid. So what's Houston like? Is it like nuts right now?
Oh, yeah. But you know what's interesting, Jimmy, is that the Astros fans, and not in an arrogant way, they expected to be here. They expected to be here from spring training. Their pitching staff is, but I mean, it's eerily, scary deep. The bullpen's as good as there was in baseball. You know, they're frontline starters, and they've got some horses in the lineup that can drive the ball. The key to them is they don't strike out much, Jimmy. They put the ball in play, you know, and the fans are going nuts. But unlike I think the Astros in the Yankee series, the Yankees struck out 50 times in four games. The Astros don't get double digits in 3 or 4 games. So they're always putting pressure on a defense. Now, I think the Phillies are a wonderful, not only story, but they're a hell of a team. You can't throw the ball to Bryce Harper. You got to keep it away from him. If that means make him chase something, hopefully. But if he ruins and wrecks games, that's on the Astros. I don't think they're going to let Bryce Harper beat him. But if both teams play their best, the Astros are the better team. But the Phillies are playing great baseball now, and they got guts, and they're tough, so we'll see. But the city expected to be in the World Series, but they also don't expect the job to be done yet. They're not sighing or breathing or taking it for granted. This team's building a pretty good dynasty. A World Series here would mean, what's this, 4 World Series in 6 years, and it will have been their second victory in 4 of those.
All right, let me just follow up. Is the stench gone from the cheating scandal finally?
Well, here, around the league now, in certain cities, you'll hear it all around the country. But to the Astros, they've been done over it. What fans don't realize going into opponents' parks, and while the first 2 are here because they have home field advantage, is that the Astros, every time they go on the road, they feed off this. Every time somebody brings it up or talks about it, listen, they made their bed. They did wrong. They suffered punishment. You know, a general manager were fired. They've lost Correa since then. They've lost Cole. They've lost Greinke. They've lost George Springer. They've lost Charlie Morton. They've lost Joe Musgrove. And guess what? They're still in the World Series. So they keep overcoming. They keep stockpiling. The booing and the chattering and the trash can talk bothers the fans, I think, more than it does the players. The players actually rise up and do it. There's DNA involved in postseason DNA, meaning they got guts, man. They love the moment. And this new rookie shortstop, Pena, the same way. So the stench not going to go away from around the league. It gets a little where we don't smell it quite as much, but nationally people are always going to bring it up. But what will stop it, or at least even hit it in the face a little more, is going out and dominating this series and beating a really good Phillies team and having people say, oh, okay. People have to realize the Astros are a really good baseball club regardless, and I couldn't root harder for Dusty Baker to get his first World Series.
I got to ask, Sean, I know you're great buddies and great friends with Mattress Mac. Have you texted him at all this morning about the huge payout that could happen if the Astros are winning, or how's he feeling?
Well, not only did I text him, I'm sitting with him tonight at the game. I'm leaving here. I was at his store today picking up tickets, and I'm flying with him on Monday or Sunday night on the private plane to Philly. So yeah, we've had a lot of conversations. We sat at a table and I looked at him. I said, "There's only $75 million on the line, my friend. Don't be." And he goes, "Oh, my nerves were shot." You know, he's such a great guy. He epitomizes what giver is. You know, if we had like a representative from each state say, "Okay, we're going to give you our most charitable, giving guy who puts people before he puts himself," Mattress Mac's going to represent the state of Texas, not just the city of Houston. He's a phenomenal human being. Great. You guys would love him. Great personality, fun, loves sports, loves people, loves to make a difference. And you know when things are going bad around the country or in another state, whether it's a tornado in Kentucky or a hurricane, he's loading up trucks and taking goods to those people as well. So I root for the two people I root for, $75 million for Mattress Mac and Dusty to get his first World Series. But yeah, I was literally with him this morning after my show. I'll see him at the ballpark, and I'll be on a plane with him Sunday night on his plane, flying to Philly to watch it there, too. He's a very good friend of the show and a good friend of mine and somebody that I root for every time, and he's just such a good guy. Easy to root for because he's such a good guy.
Well, I'll just follow up, and then we'll go to a different topic. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he, when you had all that heavy rain and all the floods, didn't he open up his mattress stores so people could come in and sleep who
yes.
could get to their houses?
Wow.
Yes, and I appreciate both of you guys asking about him because I know I know we kind of said here. I'm thinking I could go ahead and laugh and get that uncomfortable stare at $75 million because it's Mattress Mac's money, not mine. But can you imagine that feeling if we're sitting here today getting ready and it's like $75 million sitting on a 7-game series, and he handles it with such grace. You know, when he snickers, it's like it's that nervous snicker, like, Sean, I believe in him, and he's just such a good guy. And a lot of that'll go back to the people. But yes, when Hurricane Harvey hit, his store, all the new stuff, he opened up his doors, and when other people didn't open up some of their doors and let people stay to sleep on his brand new furniture. You can't resell that stuff, right?
Yep.
And for weeks and weeks on end. He housed homeless people in his store with all of his new furniture so they had a place to go and matched it with food, 3 meals minimum a day. Everything he does is to, like I said, he loves people. The city loves him. And it'd be nice to see him, and he's won plenty, but it'd be nice to see him reap the benefits of committing to this and getting those odds and winning $75 million because the city will reap the benefits of it even more than he does because that's just who he is.
All right, fair enough. We're chatting with Sean Salisbury here on the Right Toyota guest line. All right, switch to football now as the Arizona Cardinals and the Minnesota Vikings have a little game that they're going to play this Sunday. And I'm sitting here, Sean, and I want to pick your brain because I know that you played for the Vikings. And I'm just curious as to how Minnesota now is reacting to the new head coach. They've only dropped 1 game. Kirk Cousins is playing relatively solid football. Are they going to take care of business at home against the Cardinals?
If I was betting this, I would bet the over in this game. But
okay.
If I was betting it, because I think they're both going to score. The Vikings score. Their weapons and Cousins is protecting the ball. You know, we've always known he could put up numbers. The question is, how does he do in prime time? How does he do in single elimination games? And how does he do when the pressure falls on him where he has to win a game? He's done a great job of it. Kevin O'Connell, there's been a shift. Listen, Mike Zimmer was a good coach, but Mike was a command and control leader. Mike old school and was abrasive, and that's okay. But sometimes if you're not winning, people can kind of turn the other cheek to it. And Mike had a defensive coaching mentality where they didn't let's spread their wings, I guess what I'm trying to say. Now Kevin comes in, Kevin O'Connell, and he's more of a inspire and trust guy, the new age, but he's also putting trust in Cousins' hands instead of resisting it. They're getting everybody involved, and they're not afraid to attack, and they're going for it, which I like. They're not playing not to lose. They're playing to win. And it's a different Vikings feeling, and their defense has gotten better after the last year or two with a lot of holes in it. They've shored up the offensive line, and Cousins is making good, precise decisions. Now, whenever Kyler's on the field and you got these weapons, there's always that chance, as we saw, they can score some points. I think defenses will have trouble stopping them. The question is, who's going to be more physical? Can you stop the run game? Because Dalvin Cook is really good. And at home, you have to favor the Vikings. But I've seen this movie before where a team starts to feel good. The question is, can they stay on edge and not get too comfortable? Because they are clearly the best team in the NFC North. And when you think about outside of Philadelphia, guys, there's another group. It goes Philadelphia, and then there's like Dallas, the Giants, the Vikings. That's the next tier of, and there is a gap, but that's the next tier of NFC teams, and the Vikings are in it. So in that next tier, with the capabilities of getting not only winning the division, but battling for home field advantage, that this keeps up. I like the Vikings in the game because it's at home, but you can't let Kyler Murray run for 90 yards and throw for 400. But Vikings have been a more complete team than I've seen them in the last handful of years. Favored Vikings. If I was betting it, I'd take the over in the game.
Sean, I want to talk about real quickly about last night's game. This Buccaneers team, they're obviously 3-5. A lot of people are shocked by this. What do you think the real problem is going on with this Buccaneers team as we saw last night?
I think they, listen, the thing is we've been so spoiled for so long with number 12 that if he throws for 325 and only one touchdown, we think, oh, they suck, or he's done. Well, it probably is going to let this is the last go. He'll be broadcasting next year, but listen, they look slow. Defensively, they're really good. Now, they were banged up last night, and anytime you're playing Lamar Jackson, you better tackle him. And I love the fact that Greg Roman, his coordinator, put the ball in his hand early in the game. They threw it 30 times. And I can win this way, too, with him shouldering it all and throwing it when we're not running it very much. And then they shifted back to mixing in the run. So they had an interesting kind of a different plan than they usually go about their business. And they made it tough on Tampa throughout. And the defense has been the strength of their team this year. With Tampa, their offense just looks off. They just do. They don't look like the same. There's a sense of urgency for whatever reason. Of course, they're trying and they want to win, but it's like they're a step slow getting to the hole. It's like Tom's not quite Tom as we're used to seeing with pinpoint deep ball accuracy. They're forcing more things than I normally see. Mike Evans will drop a ball and not get his foot down when normally Mike would make that play all the time. They feel sluggish, slow, and a lack of urgency on offense. And as they can come out of it because the NFC South isn't very good. But anybody that's watched them, and I've seen every one of their games, all 4 quarters, I don't believe. I mean, if this is the team we think has a chance to be a playoff team, it'll only be because the division is bad. And I had them going to the Super Bowl when the season started, yet all these injuries and something's missing. Their urgency and lack of put your foot on the throat, which I normally see. That opening drive last night, we thought, okay, Tampa, this is the Buccaneers we're used to. And then they got back into the same old act. I think the Buccaneers are if they're fortunate enough to get into the playoffs in that division, they don't have enough firepower to win it all unless they have a shift of paradigms. Defense is going to have to keep them in games and Brady, but this is not a championship team right now. They're seeing slow on offense.
All right, Sean, look, I know you got things to take care of. It's always great when we catch up to you. And I'm just going to live vicariously through you and Mattress Mac throughout this World Series, okay?
You know what? And I'm not going to apologize one damn bit for it. You bet, my man. I'm going to milk it like crazy and have a blast. And in truth, I appreciate the comment. Thanks for me. I don't ever take these moments for granted. I cherish these memories. I'm still wide-eyed. Like, not only is it the World Series, but I'm sitting next to a buddy and having a great time. And, bucket list for me that I've never done is been to World Series, but where you go to each city the team's playing in. So it's kind of going to be a cool experience for me. But, yeah, I cherish these moments, and even at my age, I don't take them for granted. It's a blessing, so thank you. And I'll share all the good stories next week with you when I come on.
You're the best, pal. Have a great time. Thank you, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me. Okay.
There you go. Sean Salisbury, great commentary on the World Series and, of course, the game this weekend with the Cardinals and the Vikings. Sean Salisbury, driven by All City Towing, and All City Towing continues to be hiring folks. Look, if you need a new gig, just get on their website. Just go to allcitytowing.com/careers. That's allcitytowing.com/ benefits for you, and they pay an excellent salary as well. It's allcitytowing.com/careers, Arizona's largest towing, transport, and vehicle provider, allcitytowing.com. By the way, you want to make plans for football action at any of the Twin Peaks locations in the Valley? Man-size Blue Moon and Core Lights draft specials, plus make sure to enter to win the customized backyard patio kit. Right now, just text PEAKS to 55678. That's PEAKS, 55678, and you can enter and you can do it once a day. So how much change will we see in ASU's offense now that interim head football coach Sean Aguano will call the plays, and who will be the starting quarterback for tomorrow Colorado game? ASU radio color analyst Jeff Van Raphorst. He's going to break it down for us. It's all next. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Fox Sports 9.
That's MBUSA.com.
Guys are hot.
Here at Wright Toyota in Scottsdale, having a great time. It's Jimmy B, Jax, and Ben today. Roc and Manuch. Well, they needed a mental health day. They needed to escape me, so they are both off today. Jax, I'm surprised you didn't ditch me as well.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be next to you, Jimmy. Of course.
All right.
I would not miss it up for anything.
Yeah, checks in the mail. Okay, here we go. Jeff Van Raphorst is here. Of course, he is the ASU color analyst on radio, and we are going to dive into what we hope will be a Sun Devil victory on the road against the Buffaloes in Colorado. Jeff, it's Jim and Jax today. Let's start first. Just between the three of us here, Jeff, who's going to start at quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got an idea, but I'm not going to say anything. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I think Sean Aguano has done a good job of keeping it down. Actually, that was my thoughts. If I was Sean, I wouldn't let it out of who I was going to play. I'd make everybody wonder and make Colorado prep for two different quarterbacks because they got different styles to them.
That's an excellent question, and that's solid. I really like that. What's going to be the difference then after what you saw at Stanford and what's going to change against Colorado?
I think obviously they've got to get some offensive spark. They've got to get everybody playing at a higher level. They've got to make I think they've got to make just some energy changes. I think schematically, I think that some of the plays are there, but boy, it just did not seem last week like there was a intensity or passion running the plays. And defensively, I thought we played really, really well. Rallied. I thought we competed hard. What I want to see, I think, this week, and what I think we'll see is kind of that same aggressiveness that Sean has mentioned on defense that he wanted to see increase the last 2 weeks. I think we're going to see the same thing to offense, and guys flying around a little bit more. I think we'll play at tempo more. Try to speed up a defense, get them pinned on from a defensive scheme perspective. Right, when you don't substitute, then the defense isn't allowed time to substitute, and we've all seen what can happen when you get a defense tired. Now, granted, the other challenge is like it's great to say you're going to play fast, but you're also playing at altitude. So if you go 3 and out, you got to play fast, but you got to not be risky, right? Be wise with your sequencing of your plays.
Now, you mentioned calling plays there. Most people are calling this the interim bowl, I guess, between two interim head coaches. What will the shift be in this ASU offense with Coach Aguano now calling the plays?
That's what everybody's going to want to see. I think you're going to see it be more of an upscale style, quick passing game. I think you're going to see the quarterback get the ball out of his pocket quickly. I don't think you're going to see as much huddle. I firmly anticipate that we'll see, getting to the line and not huddling up. Every time you go back to huddle, it just slows down the game. The defense has plenty of time to substitute, and I think Coach Aguano is going to try to speed this thing up. It's in his best interest to get the players excited. When players have fun, and that's when everybody else, the fans, follow. So I think he's going to try to make it up tempo.
Jeff Van Rapport is our guest on the Wright Toyota guest line. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910. Jeff, after looking at everything on Colorado, how are they different now since they made a coaching change as well?
They're still struggling. I mean, they're still playing that kind of base 3-4 set, and they have the same problem that ASU has, right? You can make a coaching change, but you only get 20 hours a week with the kids. There's limited time, and it's clocked by the NCAA, and you got practice and meetings and everything else. So I make the analogy that it's kind of like trying to remodel New York City and keep all the subways going at the same time. So everybody's looking for incremental changes, and I think those changes come with formation. They come with periodic blitzes. One thing we saw at Stanford last week, I don't know if you guys saw it, we saw a couple more corner crashes. They brought boundary side corner, put some pressure on, and obviously we're not a great sack team. I think we've only got 4 or 5 sacks on the year, but we were able to get more pressure this last week, and I think it's just trying to find the times when you can do something different to impact the pace and play of the game.
Yeah, and you mentioned the pace and play of the game as well. And I want to talk, because you were a former quarterback, former ASU football alum. What do you think as the season progresses and almost comes to a close here? They're at 2-5 right now. What do you need to see from the Sun Devils team to be, I guess, let off on a high note and just to bring some success later on for this program, as there's been a lot of turmoil going on during the season?
Yeah, I think you look for incremental improvement, right? We've seen a lot of incremental improvement already with what Coach Aguano's done with guys' effort level. I thought the defense played really, really solid. We haven't seen the offense yet, but I've seen a lot of things that I like from Sean. One is, he made a move last week to not bring a player on the trip. There's some kind of rules violation. And I got to tell you, I think that's super hard for an interim head coach to leave an athlete behind, because the most important thing, if you're Sean Aguano, is getting wins and trying to do everything you can to get the job, right? The head coaching job. But if you're willing to do the right thing to try to reestablish a different culture, a culture of being on time, a culture of accountability, a culture of playing hard and fast, you can't ask the players to play hard and fast and be accountable if there's no consequences. And I really applaud Sean for the decision he made last week to leave a player, even, potentially at the expense of the defense. What do I want to see? I want to see speed, effort, and intensity. Those three things, right? Just play with your hair like you
2 minutes.
enjoy the game, because I think it's evident. The Eastern Michigan game, players did not look like they were having fun playing.
Right.
I want to go watch a team go, man, these guys are just busting their butt. They're running the plays. They're playing at intensity with effort and attitude. It's all the same cliches that you've heard from every coach across the country. But as an ex-player, I can tell you, you want to have fun where it's fun to win, it's fun to compete, and it's fun to be on the field with your buddies.
All right, here we go. How do you see this game play out, and who wins?
I think ASU is going to put up over 30 points. I'm going to say 35-17 ASU.
Wow, you're that confident, huh?
1 minute.
I'm just maybe I'm buying the energy and just hey, believe me, as an ex Sun Devil, and I wear my maroon and gold socks every day. Not literally, but I have been known to drink the Kool-Aid, but I just want the best for these kids. I want to see them play well, and I think that we needed a spark on offense, and Coach Iguana went and took all his plays. I commend that, right? I mean, you guys disagree with me, or am I off base, or what do you think?
Not at all. I have them winning this game, but I didn't have it. I was more like about a 21-17, but you've got them doing a number on Colorado.
Yeah, I for some reason, I just think we might run 28, 35 points up on the board. I mean,
okay.
I don't know. That's what I'm going with. I'm going to wear it.
Okay, wear it, and we'll have you on the show again next week. As always, it'll be awesome. Thank you, pal.
Take care.
All right, see you. Jeff Van Raphorst is going to be working the ASU Colorado game.
Wouldn't that be something? 30 points from this ASU offense?
If he sees it that way, I'm going to buy into what he's looking at right now. I mean, he's around them all the time, and he's much closer to the program than you and I are. So I'm going to buy in and accept that opinion. Hey, do you need a new backyard patio grill for your house? Well, here's your chance to win one right now. All you have to do is text PEAKS 55678. That's PEAKS 55678. You'll be automatically entered to win a customized backyard patio grill. It's all courtesy of Twin Peaks, Blue Moon, and Coors Light, and you can enter once a day. All right, coming up next, it's our Learner and Roll one call. That's all. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Jax, and Ben. Fox Sports 910.
Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
It's the Lerner and Rowe. One call, that's all. Call of the day. If you're looking for a full-service law firm, just make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
It was good practice. Put the plan in. Obviously, we know the challenge we have ahead. Great defense.
5 seconds, y'all are hot.
Ready to go. Coming off a bye, fresh. Good offense as well. So we got to come to play.
Now that's Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, and he qualifies for our Lerner and Rowe one call. That's all. In a wreck, need a check, just make one call at 602-977-1900. And as always, at lernerandrowe.com, they can help you get a free consultation. Once again, just make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900. Now, let's get to What's on Tap.
What's on Tap, powered by 72 Soul. A look at the top sports action tonight on TV. Get our price, a higher price at 72soul.com.
Well, Jimmy, what's on tap tonight? We got a lot of awesome, amazing sporting events.
Yes.
Basketball is on tonight. Pelicans at the Suns will be on ESPN and Valley Sports Arizona at 7 p.m. tonight. Okay. And also on ESPN Plus and on Hulu, 7:30 p.m., the Jets take on the Coyotes in the NHL world.
That's a great see, if I were available to go tonight, that's a tough choice for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, because I love NBA basketball and I love NHL hockey. I think that I might go to because the Pelicans are hurt. You've already kind of laid out all the guys that may not play. Mm. So I might spring for the Jets Coyotes tonight. And you told me they're giving away mullets when you walk in.
Yeah, they're giving out free mullets. I believe it's the blonde hair is what's going on tonight. But yeah, I mean, who doesn't love a debut of a new arena?
There you go.
A new style there for the Coyotes in Mullet Arena. So that would kick off at 7:30 p.m. And then college football. We got some college football on tonight as well. East Carolina at BYU at 5 p.m. That'll be on ESPN2. As well as Louisiana Tech at FIU, Florida International University at 5 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. And then the big game tonight, MLB World Series Game 1, the Phillies at Astros. That'll be at 5 p.m. on Fox. So at 5 p.m., you got college football going on. You got MLB going on as well. And then at 7 p.m., you got basketball. Man, get the channels flipping, Jimmy. You got 3 great games to watch all at once.
I am a wizard on the remote. I am the king of the remote. I can watch 3 or 4 games all at the same time.
Well, yeah, and it's crazy, too. You grew up when you had to stand up and go to the TV.
I would run to the TV. Wait, listen, my dad would say, Jimmy, change the channel. Jimmy, change the channel. So I would sit next to the TV just so I could jump up real fast and change the channel.
I just can't believe they had TVs back then.
God, here we go again.
You knew that was coming from Ben.
I did. I should have known that.
And then on Saturday, folks, locally, U of A will be playing at home against USC. That's on 3 p.m. on the Pac-12 network, as well as Arizona State at Colorado at 4:30 p.m. on ESPNU. And then on Sunday, the biggest game of the day there will be the 49ers at Rams. That's at 12:45 p.m., as well as the Cardinals at Vikings. Both games will be on Fox. The Cardinals play at 10 a.m. as well. And What's on Tap is powered every day on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B by America's leading home selling program, 72 Sold. How can you not know by now that 72 Sold is the easiest way to sell your home for top dollar? So for the easiest, fastest, most profitable way to sell your home, head to 72sold.com to get the higher price for your home. Go to 72sold.com.
All right, well done with that, Jax. Good stuff. But we are not finished, because we still have, and you can still go and vote, the State 48 roofing question of the day.
Yeah, hashtag sexy roof status, the call of the question of the day. And the question is, besides DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray, who must have a big game for the Cardinals against the Vikings? Now, your choices are, you can still vote at Roc and Manuch on Twitter, Rondale Moore, Robbie Anderson, Zach Ertz, and Eno Benjamin. Now, here are the current standings. At 83.3%, and the leader of the clubhouse is Eno Benjamin.
Three
And
minutes.
in second place, Zach Ertz at 16.7%, and then Rondale Moore and Robbie Anderson have 0%. So right now, people are favoring Eno Benjamin, which you called at the beginning of the show.
I did. I thought that he was the most important factor right there. I think if they can establish a solid running game, I don't think he has to run for 100, but I think he's got to run for at least 85 to keep that defense honest for the Minnesota Vikings, so they just can't load up in the secondary and defend Kyler Murray passes. I think Eno Benjamin will be a key component if they're going to be successful in Minnesota.
Yeah, and then Kyler Murray mentioned over and over again of Zach Ertz being that kind of security blanket for him. He's always open. I'm not surprised that he's the second one here. I think with D-Hop gets, like you said, they play a lot of zone, so they're going to have two guys kind of hovering D-Hop the whole game. And Zach Ertz being that big guy, he's more of that receiver type when he runs his routes.
That's correct.
He's got to take advantage of the one-on-one battles underneath against linebackers.
I'm with you 100% on that. All right, that's our sexy roof status. State 48 question of the day. And by the way, you can go to Roc and Manuch Twitter and still cast your ballot. Did you have fun today?
Oh, I had so much fun. I appreciate you allowing me to host this show with you, Jimmy. Obviously, you've been an icon and a legend in this business for a while, and you're not 100 years old. I know people were probably thinking that maybe you're 100 years old, but you're close. But, man, it was a great time.
This is awesome. Well, you two guys are like mediocre at best, but no, not really. Just killed me on the air because I'm such an old dude, but it doesn't matter. The idea is that we had fun doing the show today. By the way, Roc and Manuch will be back on Monday as they took a mental health day just to get away from me.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Only Jimmy, of course. But, Jimmy, you're young at heart as well. You said you shot a 79 yesterday in golf. Look at you, Jimmy.
30 seconds, guys.
Not bad for an old dog. I'm still kicking. That's the best part. All right, everybody, we had a great time today. By the way, if you're looking for a new or used vehicle, this is the place to be. Right Toyota in Scottsdale, and they've got their staff dressed up in costumes as well. It's been a
10 seconds.
Day. Thank you, Ben, very much for everything as always. Jax, great filling in, kid. You did a marvelous job.
I appreciate it. Good night.
Fox Sports 910 traffic.